Hello, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? Well, we hit Philadelphia yesterday. Very small play, but it was really betting against Minnesota and the Philly defense. So it looks like nobody can run on Philadelphia's defense. So everybody's going to throw the ball 50 times. New England did it. Now Minnesota did it. But we got the W. And again, I like that we're laying one, so just win. And if you notice, you needed the teaser because they didn't cover the 7 or 6.5. Jefferson had a real big game. Kirk Cousins actually almost looked like an NFL quarterback. Hurts, okay. They got up. They got 35 points on Mini. So get the W, have it in a teaser on Sunday. With another team, of course. As soon as the game was over, I kind of wrote my notes. Minnesota's an over team. So now we see a better team because now they played 2 games and not the preseason bullshit. And then they're resting. So they look like shit against Tampa because they don't play in the preseason for some stupid reason. They want to give up a game. Then now we see the normal offense, Jefferson and this other receiver who I guess was from Pittsburgh. So now we get a better. They have no defense, which we knew. This was the point of the bet. And they got a pretty good offense. So we're going to bet Minnesota over when prudent most of the time. I would expect you're going to see other teams, a.k.a. Kansas City, start lighting it up now. They had to get over not Mahomes as much as Kelsey, and then the timing with Mahomes and the other receivers, which I would imagine they've got straightened out. And I would imagine you see them put up a big number, as that's one of our free teasers is Indy Houston under and KC Jacksonville over. So Indy Houston under, we can talk about that. Normally this wouldn't be an underplay because you have 2 bad defenses. However, you got 2 incredibly bad offenses. So with that being said, they can't really take advantage of the defense. So that's why I see a low-scoring game, even though both their defense, and I don't know if they're over. I mean, Baltimore won 25-9 and Jacksonville won 31-21. So Indy scored a lot on Jacksonville because their defense sucks. It's lead KC. Bad defense, but so if KC played either of these teams, they'd kill them. And I'm sure they will, at some point during the year. So when you watch the game and you get the result, what you're looking for is how's their offense, how is their defense, how's the quarterback, what kind of team are they? And we go from there. So would you guys rather do NFL first or college first, or do you not care? I think we did a lot of college yesterday, so let's quickly go through. Let's do a short of both. So let's go to the line. Now, I don't know. I went on scores and odds, and it said, now you're out of parameter or something. And I couldn't get my lines. Let's see if it's working now. Yeah, there we go. I don't know what happened. It wasn't registering as week 2. It was registering as today and tomorrow, which doesn't make sense because football is by weeks, not by day. So like it's week 3 in the NFL. All right, so we got San Diego 345.5 against Tennessee. We got Atlanta now 1.5, 40.5 over Green Bay. We got Houston 1.5, 39.5 now. Indy was favored. I checked. Richardson, I guess, is playing, so I don't. That's a strange one. Detroit's down to 4.5, 47.5. And I have a trend for you there. Yes, G, I do have certain trends will work. Hey, Todd. I've cooked pita bread. So this is like pita bread, 14 carbs, because I can't eat bread. And this only has 14 carbs. So what I do is I put it in the frying pan like I would make an egg, and I put olive oil on it, and I cook it. And then I put this in and turn it over, and this is olive oil on it. And it's a great little snack considering I just got back from swim. So I got my avocado over here, and that's a change of pace. I got some cantaloupe. So having my breakfast, because I do not eat before noon when I'm in the groove, which I'm in right now since Labor Day. Went up to the mall up north and tried on a shirt, and I had a stomach, and I'm like, you're not going to get diabetes. So I did a 66-hour fast, and since then it's been like, okay, eat at about noon, you're done with dinner about 6, no late snacks, no breakfast, off you go. And then I've been going to the pool at like 10 o'clock, make sure I don't eat. And then when I get home, not only am I hungry, but I'm also, because I ate it, I was going to the pool at like 6 o'clock at night. And the problem was I'd go work out, and then I get home, it's 8 o'clock, and I'm starving. But I can't, and I was nibbling a little because I was so hungry. But I'm like, so let's do it early. So now I can eat after the pool and, my first meal. So that's the concept. Cool. I would add a little cinnamon. Yeah, I have cinnamon in my water and in my coffee. See the bottom, that's all cinnamon. So it's a good ingredient. Sometimes I put it on my eggs. Sometimes I put it on my popcorn. But I do eat a lot of cinnamon. Very healthy for you. I basically put ginger. I was looking if I had on the bottom of my coffee. So I put ginger and cinnamon. If I make tea, I'll put lemon. I'll squeeze some lemon in it, in my tea or my water. And then here it's either butter or olive oil. Never eat margarine if you want to live, that is. But thank you, Todd, for that. Good comment. But yeah, I do eat a lot of cinnamon. It's very healthy for you. And it's not sugar, right? So it's not going to kill you. All right, Tampa, 2.5, 40.5 over Chicago. We don't really know who Tampa is. They beat Minnesota, who really, I don't know. So maybe Tampa's good. Terrible coach. The Bears are terrible. See, this is the problem. They run Fields. Okay, he's going to run. We don't have to cover anybody, and we're going to blitz. And Green Bay blitz. My Georgia guys got to him. I loved it. Okay, once we've figured out how to stop him from running, which is blitzing, now what's he going to do? He can't pass. So there goes Fields. You always need a quarterback. Here's an interesting one. Buffalo is now 8.5, 47. I like Buffalo under the 3. So I will give you that I did play Buffalo under the 3. So people that have bought from me, I had Buffalo minus 3.5, and then when it went to 8.5, yes, I've added another Buffalo play minus 2.5. I like it under 3. They'll blow out the Raiders Raiders don't have a defense. Buffalo the Jets defense is a whole lot better than the Raider defense. Hi, G. How you doing? Yeah, I'm back from swim. So you caught me on the bike, but yeah, it's around this time. I think I left at 10:15. I was on the bike a little bit longer. I had text I had to respond to. So yeah, it ends up where it's a little bit longer, but I don't, I hit the pool hard, and that's all I care about. So I have added Buffalo because they went under 9. It's 2.5. But here's where I like Buffalo off of a loss because they're playing a weak defensive team. The whole focus is on defense. Now, one of my guys yesterday was kind of going, well, wait, Philly's middle linebacker's out. You sure you want Philly? And he bought from me, so he knew I played Philly. I says, yeah, I don't care about the middle linebacker being out. It's not about the middle linebacker. It's about the pass rush. And it's Hurts is playing in that. And it's about Minnesota doesn't have a defense. And Philly, put up 34 points because Minnie doesn't have a defense. That was the key to the bet. It's the same thing with Buffalo, Oakland. Now, Cincinnati lost week 1, but I'm not jumping on them because Baltimore's got a good defense. I'm not going to play Cincy. KC I like because the Jacksonville defense sucks. And Buffalo I like because the Oakland defense sucks. So what you're doing is if you play a weak defensive team and you got a good team and they're off of a loss, they're going to pound them like Philly basically did, but they're off of a win. So that's why I like Buffalo, but not Cincinnati off the loss. Not that Cincinnati won't win, but I think we'll get a truer look at who Cincinnati is this week. Sort of like Minnesota. They didn't show up week 1, and now, okay, because they didn't play in the preseason. This is the problem. You basically give up week 1 in the preseason. So now we see the real Minnesota team. Now we're going to see the real Cincinnati team. I think we know who Jacksonville is. And KC, they're not going to drop 10 balls this time. All right. And Buffalo played a good game against the Jets, but the Jets, he threw 3 picks against that defense. He ain't going to throw 3 picks against Oakland. So anyway, back is Buffalo. Buffalo only under a field goal at home off a loss against the Raiders. That's a very good play. Kansas City 3.5, 51.5. That's our free over play. I'm going over because, Kansas City just signed their defensive lineman. I'm hoping Kelsey plays. Let's check Kelsey today. And is he ready to go, or is he still questionable with his little knee? Kelsey was limited in practice on Thursday heading into week 2 versus Jacksonville. I love these little comments they put in there. Off of a loss, if I was a betting man, and I am, I would think he plays if he practiced yesterday. But we'll know. He's got till Sunday. They're probably, if he can get, I don't think it's a bone bruise. So it's not like he can hurt it worse by playing. So I think as long as you can go out there, if they need him, I think he'll play. And then I love the over even more, but I love it now anyway. Because Jacksonville gives up 21 to Indy. You have 21 to Richardson. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, my God. All right, Cincy 3 and 46.5 to Baltimore. Small trend on Cincinnati. I probably like the under here. I'll go through my scores in a minute. Probably it's an under. I think since he's not ready, Baltimore, no offense and a strong defense. I don't see Lamar doing anything in this game. I think since he gets focused after the loss, Chubb dominated him, but Baltimore doesn't have. J.K. Dobbins is now he hit his Achilles also. He's out for the year. So it's Lamar, which we know how to defend, and then who else do they got? Giants 4.5, 39 against Arizona, 39.5. Again, is Toon or Dobbs going to light up the Giants? Giants got beat 40-0, a blocked field goal and a pick six. So they really lost 26-0. And I think in the desert, see Toon doing a whole lot. I think the Giants are going to run the ball down their throats with Jones and Barkley. So it should be an Army-Navy low-scoring game, I think. Philly and the over. Philly and the over. Philly plays today. I don't get your and the over. Did you play the over in the Philly game? Greg and John. Is that what you played yesterday, Philly and the over? So you had a good one. So you had a good night. Yeah, Minnesota's an over. They can't stop the wind. Philly looks like they're having problems. Okay, Greg. Looks like they're having problems. Teams passing on. They're not even trying to run on them. They're just passing on it. So they're turning into an over team, not an A team. I think the only A team are the Niners. We'll see about the Rams this week. But Dallas, we know, is they're always struggling to be an A team, but Prescott keeps them from it. But Philly is now an over team. They score a lot, but they don't. Their defense is not stopping anything. So we will see. 49ers 744.5 against the Rams. Small trend on the Rams, nothing to note. I guess it's the Niners, so you got to play the under. They play very well in LA, so I will give you that. I will think that the Rams, I think the Niners win, and I think they keep the Rams down. That championship game to go to the Super Bowl, they had their number. So I think what you have to do now is look at the Niners and the Jets as the same team. I think you look at them. By that, I mean the same defense. So if you struggle with the Niners, you're going to struggle with the Jets, vice versa. So this game, I think when you really get down to it, I think you play under in just about every Niner game. Maybe the Philly game, I don't know. But even that was our championship block last year, and we bet it under, and Purdy got hurt, but it was an under. Dallas 9.5, 38.5. Now, I just made the comment on purpose. So they're playing the Niners, basically. What was it, 20 in the championship game last year, or in the first round of the playoffs when they played? I don't see Dallas doing a whole lot against this defense. I don't see anybody doing a whole lot. If you don't understand this is an elite defense, you don't know football. This is the 49er defense run by the 49er defensive coordinator with as good of players on the Jets defense. And they picked Allen 3 times, and Buffalo, without Rodgers, only got 16 points on them. What do you think, Dak Prescott? How many interceptions is he going to throw? They got Allen 3 times. How many times do they get Prescott? And I would say the over-under is at least 3. Dallas has a strong defense, so this is a beautiful under because you've got defense you got under team against under team. Right now they're both A's, but that's just because the Jets scored 22 points. I'm not expecting the Jets to get 22 points. So this should be another low-scoring game. I got low-scoring games kind of in my ears, except for the Kansas City game and the Lion game. They're all pretty low-scoring. Washington, Denver 3.5, 39.5. Under teams and under teams. Both teams struggled to get to 20, and Denver didn't get there. Thurston Howell III against Russell Wilson. I think people are not being fair to Russell Wilson. He's a great quarterback. He's got a new coach, and Sean Payton. He'll get it together. I think there'll be a difference from last week to this week. Washington has a pretty good defense. So I think this is under versus under. So it's obviously an under. Miami and New England. Miami 346.5. Not much. A tiny trend for Miami. Tagliabue struggles in big games. New England put up 20 on Philly. I think they'll play a good game. This could be over because of Miami and New England. I don't. They're going to throw 50 times a game every game. They do, I guess. So I think this gets over 41, 47 down to 41. I would not bet Miami as a road favorite. I mean, Philly won 25-20, and they're a whole lot better than Miami is, especially defensively. So maybe an over here. New Orleans 3-40 to Carolina. Carr versus Young. Bryce Young. He's looking for the Arkansas State and the Middle Tennessee games. He can't. He's got to play pro teams. He's in big fucking trouble. New Orleans also a low-scoring team with Carr. Kamara's on a 4-game suspension. Olave will play. The guy from the Lions will play. He'll get a touchdown. Again, this is a low-scoring game. I mean, there's not even a point of trying to guess. Do I take New Orleans +3 or Carolina +9? It's not even close to just looking at the totals of the game going, this is a fucking joke. Where are the points coming? Bryce Young's not lighting up New Orleans. I mean, New Orleans played a tough, low-scoring game last week with Tennessee, and Tannehill and Henry played. So I don't see where Carolina, I think they'd be lucky to score in this game. And then the last game is Cleveland 2.5, 38.5 versus Pittsburgh. There's a huge trend on Pitt. They're a very strong home dog. Cleveland beats Cincy in the rain at home, goes to Pittsburgh where they hate going to Pittsburgh. Watson against Pickett. We hate Pickett's not a real good quarterback. Watson, did he do anything last week? Did he complete 5 passes? From what I remember, it was all Nick Chubb running, not Watson throwing. All right, I'll get into my scores in a minute. Let me read. Mini D is terrible. That was the whole point of the bet, Greg and John. You look for strong Ds and you look for weak Ds. That's why I like Buffalo over Oakland. Oakland has no D. So Josh Allen, after a loss, going to have a field day. All right, he'll have all day to throw, 4 touchdowns easy. But if he against the Jets, what did I do? I took the Jets as a home dog and said they're going to win. They should be favored, and they won, and they should have been favored. Not here. This is at Buffalo, off a loss, playing an Oakland team that has no defense, no coach. I'm not even sure Garoppolo is a real quarterback. So Buffalo, fully motivated after the loss, has to win. Look out. So that's exactly what I'm doing. Bobby Bo, what's going on? The avocado, we're in mid form. We're finally eating. Yes, we are. Did you watch the new? It was horrible. I got to show you my comments on the Mark McGuire. He had some idiot trying to explain the euro US dollar, which doesn't exist. And then he enlightened us by saying that, you know what, the banks run the world. Oh, geez, I've never said that the banks own the Federal Reserve and run the government. I've never said that. And Mark's sitting there going, well, I've never heard that before. And I'm like, well, fuck, if you'd listened to my fucking show, you'd have heard it 2 years ago. I mean, these guys are so fucking stupid. His guest, I'll show you my comments in a minute. But it's terrible. Don't waste your time. Greg John, Bobby, my brother, I want you in the MLB to teach these boys to hit better than 200. Isn't it true, Greg John? These guys come up and they're so fucking bad. I read the Tigers like box score, and I go to the batting and like 6 of them are under 230. Like, why are they in the major leagues? Who the fuck is bringing them up? And why are they playing in the major leagues? What the fuck's going on here? Where's the 300 hitters? Where's the Rod Carews and the as much as I hated Wade Boggs, at least he hit 330. Pete Rose. Where are those guys? Bobby, thanks, Grega, but these guys need a lot more help than Bobby Bow. They just want to hit long balls. Well, like the problem is they can't hit. They don't even want to hit long balls, Bobby. They want to get walks. It's money ball. You stand up at the plate and foul the pitches off until you get a walk. Because we want to run, we want to have 10 pitch accounts, 10 pitch at bats to make the pitcher's arm tired. This is the strategy of Major League Baseball. Oh my God, what a bunch of fucking idiots. For instance, Judge either hits home runs or strikes out. I don't watch much baseball these days, but have seen stats where guys like that have horrible batting average, but hitting 50 home runs. Yeah. Well, I don't see again. It's the Keynesians that are taking over baseball. It's really pathetic. All right, so let's put some teaser trends on. I know how G likes those. Where applicable. So the first game, there's a huge teaser trend on Green Bay as a dog. It's really Atlanta sucks as a home favorite. They suck at home. Atlanta's like 2-20, or let's say if you bet against Atlanta at home, they're like 20-2, either as a favorite or a dog. This line switched to Green Bay -1.5 to Atlanta -1.5. So we can't look at Green Bay trends because Aaron Rodgers isn't there. So now it becomes looking at Jordan Love, who basically sucks. So we can't really look at that. Atlanta's got that. So the trend would be Green Bay. Again, and Love against Riddler. Normally, I think the Riddler's adorable in the Batman movies, but I don't know as a quarterback. He was okay at Cincinnati. I didn't love him. There's a lot better coming out this year. So my score is Green Bay 23-20. Now, this is the score, as I showed you, is put in before there's a line. I put in my line and my score, and then we look at the real line. So my line was Atlanta -3, and I have Green Bay winning 23-20. Now the line's 1.5, over under 40. I have no idea what to do with over under because I don't know what Green Bay did that to the Bears with Adam Jones, basically the whole offense. Now he's got a hamstring problem. I looked at Green Bay. They had 5 hamstrings. And what do I tell you? They don't play in the preseason. Here come all the hamstrings, the feet, the ankles, the knees. Every team I'm going down the injuries, it's 5, 6, 7 hamstring injuries. Yeah, let's not play them in preseason. They might get hurt. Yeah, but they'll all get hamstring injuries in week 1, and they'll be out 5 weeks. I mean, these coaches should all be fired. I don't know why they hire any of them. It's just embarrassing what they do. San Diego, Tennessee, San Diego -3. Herbert against Tannehill. There's a big trend on Tennessee. We know San Diego plays every game close, and they're not that strong as a road favorite. If they were a road dog, I would lock them here, but they're not. They're a road favorite. Tennessee's pretty good at home, pretty good as a home dog. This is not San Diego's type of game where they got to play a strong defensive team on the road in the grass. I got San Diego winning 24-17. If you're going to tease it, I could see taking Tennessee. No comment on over/under because I don't know. Tennessee's such a strong defensive team. San Diego obviously a strong offensive team. So it's an oil water mix. It's like, what do you do with it? Do you go over? Tennessee's defense going to shut them down. Henry's going to run 52 carries for 110 yards. I mean, there leaves a lot here that it's a lot of risk. So when we're looking for expected outcome, it's hard. I give you 24-17, which is a 41, but even that, could be close, could be about right. Probably both teams, 20 to 18, 20 to 17, something like that. Probably an under, but it's hard to play San Diego under, so I just pass on it. Hey, G, yeah, I know. Don't worry. I'm just trying to show you what's meaningful and what isn't. So in this case, we can use the trends because San Diego has Herbert and the coach for a few years. And it's just what San Diego is. They play. Look at the Jacksonville game in the playoffs, 27-0, and they find a way to not cover that game. All right, Oakland, Buffalo, really no trend. Garoppolo against Allen. I got 31-13 Buffalo. I think they kill them. I don't think Oakland with Garoppolo is going to do shit. And Buffalo is pissed off after losing to the Jets, Jets. So I definitely like Buffalo here. I gave it to my guy. He's in that pool where you just pick the winner, but you got to pick a different team each week. So this is the Buffalo week. This is the best they're going to win. And it's hard with this. There's so many bad teams to pick the winner. So we'll go as far as we can. Now we need Houston and Indy to quit playing each other where you can't really, they cancel each other out. Detroit at Seattle. We've got Geno Smith against Goff. Nice trend on Seattle. Very strong road dog, as we know, 18-3. Detroit's they're getting better as a home favorite the last few years. I got Seattle winning 28-27. I don't think Detroit's got a defense. KC, with all the drops, still scored 20 on them. Detroit only got 14 on a weak KC defense. Seattle, we'll see. Maybe Richard Sherman will come back. Coach Pete, I mean, the defense, they had trouble with Stafford. I don't think they'll have trouble with Detroit scoring. I got 28-27 Seattle. I think they're a live dog in this game. I don't get this. Detroit is so good. What are we watching here, guys? Detroit still has no defense. I loved it yesterday. The Philly running back from Detroit, the Georgia guy, ran for 175 yards. The most he did at Detroit was like 50 yards. They got Darius Slay. They got all the Detroit players, all like the tight end at Minnesota had a big game. He was from Hockenson. But when they're on Detroit, they don't have big games. So the Georgia running back went wild. And see, that's the thing. Gainwell was out, but they brought in, I can't think of his name, but they brought in the Philly guy, the Lion guy, and he ran it down their throat. And that's what you look for. So, again, Detroit doesn't have a defense. And again, they scored 14 on a weak KC defense. So they got a pick six, which is a fluke. Because the guy, he tips it up, like, catch the fucking ball. This guy on KC should not be in the NFL. He's like what I say when I see these 150 hitters batting going, why is this guy in Major League Baseball? He can't hit. Why is he there? Hey, the real D, how are you? Did you enjoy the Philly game yesterday, I would say. Indy, Houston. That's the free play. We go under. My score is 10-9 Houston. My spread's Houston -3. It's -1.5. Over under a 40. I got 10-9. I not that the defense is that strong, but where the fuck's you gonna score? I mean, you won't get any. You're not gonna get any scoring here. Now, normally I'd be worried because the defenses really are kind of weak. But you don't have the offense to do it. I'm sure the defense will get better. Now, Houston gave up 25 to Baltimore, not terribly much. And Indy gave up 31 to Jacksonville. Who scores? Indy getting 21 is because they played Jacksonville. Houston at home. I can see Houston winning this game at home, although without Stroud. Richardson's banged up a little, but he looks like he's playing. So I'd be more worried if it was Davis Mills against the Texas guy, Ellinger, on Indy. Then I wouldn't play the game under. But Richardson and Stroud, why are they even starting? It's a mystery how stupid. Why are the owners just own the fucking thing? You hired a GM, let him do it. You hired a coach, let the coach coach. No, the owner wants to be the GM and the coach. Then he wonders why they keep coming in last place again. Indy missing their running back. Yep, he's out, which is good for the under. Yeah, Taylor's still out. I think it's a contract thing, but they say it's his knee. But either way, Houston and Indy tie again. Well, they're both going to be 1-16, but they could. Well, I got 10-9, so could be. But that's our free pick. Go under. The Bears and Tampa. Fields against Mayfield. The trends on Tampa. I got 17-14 Tampa. Although it could be higher scoring, but I don't know. Did Tampa's defense play a great game against Minnie, or Minnie just wasn't ready for the season? Because they did hold a good offense, as you saw yesterday, down to, 17-14. I don't know how strong Tampa's defense is. Chicago, we know, sucks. They basically, Fields running. He threw one pass to C.J. Moore or whatever, and then no running back, and then the defense sucks. I mean, Adam Jones just lit them apart with long run after long little passes. Does Tampa have – I don't even know who Tampa has anymore. Do they still have those receivers that Brady had? I think they do. But Mayfield. So, again, you're getting used to Mayfield. So here's why the trends won't work. Geez, Tampa, what trends you going to use? You can't use the Brady's. He ain't there. Now you got Mayfield, who has no trend. The Bears with Fields, you can use a little bit. He's been there, 1 year? This is his second. I think he's there. This is his second year, I think. So you don't really have trends to use. So then you got to look at offense, defense. Tampa under team. Chicago and over, pretty much they'll score and can't stop the win. So this is, again, where you defense, if it's a 30-point game, we'll say their defense sucked and Minnesota just had a bad game because they weren't ready for week 1. Week 2 is such a tricky slate. Vegas not playing nice. It's easy. You guys you've got to solve the problem. You fuck with the game, you go to the over-under. So it's easier to go, into Houston, they're not going to score. They have no quarterbacks. Than to take Indy and 7.5 or Houston and 4.5. So you don't even bother yourself with that. That's not pertinent here. The best way to play the game is totals versus the team. Now, yes, we had Philly, and I'm telling you to take Buffalo. Those are easy spreads, and especially Buffalo going back to 8.5. All right, Cincinnati, Baltimore. We got Cincy 3 off of a loss. Lamar against Burrow. Burrow by far the better quarterback. I don't know. Cincy, do they have offensive line issues or what? What happened in the Cleveland game that they scored a whopping 3 points? So I got to be a little bit clear. I think Cincinnati will be pissed because they lost, but can they do anything about it? I got Cincy 24, Baltimore 17. So 41. So I think it's there because Baltimore is a strong defensive team. Cincy is also once the season's underway, and then it's Burrow and Chase to score a little bit, but they're not going to put up a 40 here. So I like this game under. I think Cincy wins it off the loss, but it's hard. I'm not taking Cincy +3. I can't go against Burrow after a loss at home, and I can't bet on Lamar. So that's where I'm at there. KC Jacksonville, I gave you the over. I got 34-27 KC, so that's a 61. It's almost like a college game. KC pissed off after the loss. You cannot bet against them. That's one thing you do when good teams lose. You do not bet against them unless they play each other. So if KC is playing Buffalo, okay, or Cincinnati. But they're playing Jacksonville, who has less of a defense than Minnesota. So your real high bad defenses are Minnesota, San Diego, Oakland, Seattle, Detroit. We're not sure about Indy and Houston, the Bears, Jacksonville, Probably Arizona, not Washington or Denver. Miami does. New England, not sure. New Orleans isn't. Carolina, we're not sure. And Cleveland, and we know Pitt has a strong defense. So you target the bad defenses when they play a good team. We do it in college, right? We say there's the Z team, but the other team have the offense to take advantage of this team can't stop 11 of us. So that's what we're looking at. So KC 34-27. Jacksonville will score on them. If Kelsey plays, it gets even worse. But this is without Kelsey, 34-27. No real trend in the game. KC, pretty good road favorite. Jacksonville, they don't cover against anything. Not too good. The Niners and the Rams, Niners lane 7, I have -6, 45. It's the Niners. The Rams have a good defense. They held Seattle to 13. So everybody says the Rams stink. No, they stunk last year when Stafford was out. This is not the same team, but everybody just carries the team on like it's the same team. This is the whole thing. There's so many idiots out there. It just blows your mind. I got 24-10 Niners. Very little trend, a little Ram trend or something. The Niners are very strong in every category. It's all defense. Where are the Rams going to score? Kupp is out, so you got Stafford throwing to whoever. Good luck against this Niner team, and Purdy's good. So I definitely think this is an under. If the Rams get more than 10, I'll be shocked. And the same token with Aaron Donald, if the Niners get more than 24, I'll be shocked. So you get enough points with McCaffrey and the tight ends playing. My mind's over here as I'm trying to think of the names. Kittle, I mean, he's playing. Deebo Samuel's playing. Ayuk's playing. Good luck stopping all them. And Purdy is the real deal, even though he was the last pick in the draft. Shows you how stupid these GMs are when they pick, Josh Rosen with the third pick, and they don't pick Purdy. It just shows you how stupid they are. So I think you go under here, or you can maybe take the Niners -1. Would probably be. They're not losing this game. They are very strong in LA. They're like 9-1 the last 10 in LA. So they like the warm weather and everything. The Giants against Arizona. I got the Giants 17-0. Jones against Toon. There's a huge trend on the Giants in this game. Arizona's a very bad home. They're like they're 10-0 bet against as a home dog. So Arizona does not like being a home dog. The Giants aren't great as a road favorite, but this is all Arizona is a bad home dog and they lose. I don't see Toon beating them. This is going to be an Army-Navy game. So between Barkley and Jones, they're going to rush the ball 60 times. You're going to think it's a Navy spread. God, I got to get a new computer. I keep getting this. UI isn't responding. If Alex is on, give me a hand with this, Alex. Alex is an IT guy in Texas. Come on. Hate these interruptions. All right, so I think it'll be an Army-Navy game. I think they go and they run the ball 50 times. Jones can't throw anyway. And Toon, what's he going to do? I mean, he's not very good. I don't know if they have receivers and running backs anyway. Connor is I think he's questionable or doubtful with the hamstring. Come on. There we go. So I don't know if it causes a pause or not. Bengals versus Ravens should be over. All right, explain that one to me because I'm lost. I don't know where you're getting points in the game. All right, the Jets in Dallas. I have Dallas -4. Starts at 3. Rodgers is out, which we knew. 9.5. Where's that coming from? Zach Wilson against Prescott. Pretty even to me. Prescott will throw 3 picks. Very little trend. Over under 39. I think this is a easy under. I got 17-10 Jets. With Zach Wilson, it's going to be a running, and the Jets have strong running and strong defense. They will pressure Prescott. This will not be a good game for him. How in God's name are they 9.5 point favorites? What a joke. That is a terrible overreaction. I think the Jets in 15.5 are a joke. I got them winning the game straight out and an under. Washington, Denver 3, 39.5. Thurston Howell the third against Russell Wilson. Washington does have a good defense. Denver has a good defense. This is under against under, so I like the game under. I got Denver winning 20-13, which is a 33. Sean Payton will get it working. Russell Wilson is certainly a much better quarterback than Thurston Howell. I don't see Washington getting too much. And they played last week. New Orleans played Washington, Denver. So Denver lost to Oakland 17-16. So I'm looking for close to that score, 20-13. Miami 3-47 to New England. I got Miami 27-20. Little trend on Miami. They're not a great road favorite. New England's probably a weak home dog. Tug against Jones. They both are terrible. Tug's getting a little bit better, but still can't handle a blitz. Neither of them can. So where's the great Belichick here? So 27-20, Miami might get a little bit more. New England, are they going to throw the ball 50 times a game and think they're going to win? Because you don't rest your defense. So it fucks up his defensive philosophy. The real D, Bengals going scorer. Good. Bobby, help me out here. Because of last week, and Ravens had a lot of good wide receivers, they both scored low last week. Well, maybe they both scored low last week because they don't have good offenses. I mean, Cincinnati played Cleveland, who's not a great defense, and Baltimore played fucking Houston. That doesn't make any sense to me, real D. Yeah, they had bad games, and I look for Burrow to score more, but Lamar limits Baltimore. They're not going to score a lot. And since he's got a really good defense, and so does Baltimore. So you must look at the defenses. You can't assume that Burrow is going to light it up, not against Baltimore. And you can't assume Lamar is going to light it up since he's got a really good defense. So your theory doesn't hold water, as they would say in My Cousin Vinny. I'm on Utah State +9 tonight. Hi, everyone. Hey, Eric. Good luck to you, Eric. We'll talk college in a minute. Yes, Indy and Houston will end in a tie after going 2 overtimes at 2-2 from 2 safeties by Stroud and Richards. I thought you would say 2-run homers. But, yeah, I can see it being first 1 to 10 should win. Well, yeah, I'm with you, Eric. I get that. I know it's Mountain West. I like the Mountain. I make a lot of money in the Mountain West. I make a lot of money in the Sun Belt. App State, James Madison. New Orleans, Carolina, New Orleans -3 the whole way. Carr against Vince. Is it Vince Young or Bryce Young? Hard to understand. I got New Orleans 17-16, and I'm not sure Carolina can get 16 points with Bryce Young. New Orleans, very strong defense. They're going to run the Lion guy and the other guy, and Carr's okay. He's getting used to it. Carolina might not even get to 10. And the last game, Cleveland 2.5, 38.5. Teaser trend is huge on Pitt as a home dog. I like Cleveland 21-17 because Pickett's so bad. So it's Watson against Pickett, but really it's Nick Chubb against the Pitt defense. Watson didn't do shit last week. I think after losing as bad as they did, Pittsburgh, the coach Tomlin will not stand for that. I think they check Chubb. I don't think he's going to get 100 yards. And I think it'll be a close game. So I like the dog in this game. I like Pitt as a home dog after a loss. Cleveland got lucky to beat Cincinnati. I just don't see them as the real deal at this point. So free pick, Indy, Houston under, KC, Jacksonville over. And I gave you to take Buffalo because they are playing Oakland, who basically sucks. All right, let's look at college. Bryce Young, is he both Batman and Bruce Wayne? I don't care what his name is, Eric. I was looking at that game, Eric, but I think I'm going to just watch it. All right, let's look at the game. Utah State against the Air Force. Let's see what the line is. I had 8.5 yesterday. G would have won the under in the Memphis Navy game. She asked me about it. It did stay under. The over-under was 47.5, 53.5. They played a 52. So what I said was that Memphis has a better defense and Navy has and so it's both, and it was 28-24. So it was a pretty good 47.5, so 53.5. So she would have won it. But these Army-Navy games you're going to pretty much just go under in those games because they're running the ball for forever, eating the clock up. So there's far less possessions. Got to de-seed my cantaloupe. So, Bobby, I've added cantaloupe to the mix. I needed something to eat. Avocado and cantaloupe and pita bread with olive oil. I would have made my hamburger omelet. I made it for dinner, but I didn't have time. By the time I got home, I don't have time to cook. All right. Utah State. Utah State's an over team. The Air Force is an A team. Let's go to the spread. I got Air Force 9.5. So the Sharps are up back on Air Force. So I went from 9.5 to 8.5 back to 9.5. So did you tease it and you got Air Force in 15.5? Where are we? Yeah, cantaloupe's good. It's sweet, but not too much sugar like watermelon or pineapple. You got to be careful. I'm not sure about honeydew either, but I need to change the pace because I eat a lot of salads and then I cook a lot of veggies in my omelets. It's funny, I won't go to these Coney Islands for an omelet anymore because they're going to use either margarine or butter. I don't mind the butter. And then who knows how they're making the eggs. And then there's just a tiny bit of onions and green peppers in it. I put the whole freaking broccoli. It's like the whole broccoli heads in it. And the peppers, there's a ton of them. And it fills a bowl, my omelets. Eric, that is a system play that hit 70% of the month of September. It's 61-19 in this situational play. I love the lock you got this week, Professor. Thank you, D. Yeah, I mean, last week they were 5-0. I'm expecting the same. They're just when you looked at the opponents or you looked at the game, it's just they just fell on you. And there's a couple more pros I could lock that I haven't yet that I might. And there's one game I think I didn't add, but I got to add. But I might have added it already. But Make sure you check back Sunday morning for pros. Most of the colleges are up there. I might add one more, but generally you've got all the games. And then Sunday, depending on what happens Saturday, there's at least one I'm going to add for sure. And then I might, yeah, but you got most of the pro plays. What is a system play? What do you got? What do you, Utah State +9 is a system play? Oh, you're scaring the hell out of me, Eric. You know we don't use systems here. Too many variables. Okay, what is this fantasy system play? What is it, a Madoff play? Is it 100% because they play it after the game's over? So I'm dying to hear this system play. So they're not looking at offense, defense, injuries. It's a system. Okay. Scary. Air Force 9.5, 45.5. Air Force is the A team. Statistically, Utah State is the over team, meaning Air Force should control the ball a long time with their running attack. I mean, they've been running the ball down everybody's throats. Utah State, no defense, good offense. Will Air Force's defense shut down Utah State's the question. You get 15.5 with Utah State. Usually I would prefer Air Force at home. You got Air Force, and they got a running quarterback. I don't know how good he is yet, but well, let's look at the history. How does Utah State like the Air Force? And Utah State won 34-27 last year, 49-45 as the favorite. They were the big dog last year and won. Air Force was the big dog in 2020 and won 35-7. Let's look at the details. So Haslick Daniels was the Air Force quarterback, 5 of 12. They ran pretty good. Oh, wait, did Daniels have? He had one interception. Utah State had Legis. Legis is still their quarterback. 18 of 23, 200 yards, 2 touches, 1 pick. Ran 13 for 76. Another guy ran for 109. And they won at home 34-27. So, I don't know. Well, let's look. So we got Maryland 14.5, 47.5 against Virginia. I think Maryland's probably, they got the better offense. Look for them at home, but their defense sucks. UTSA 7.5, 43.5. I would say that Frank Harris is out, which makes this, they've been playing good defensive ball. Army, their quarterback threw 3 touchdowns last week, Bobby, so they're getting better with the new offensive coordinator. No Frank Harris, over under 43.5, 44. I think you go under with the Army game. I think that's a much better play than Utah State, but that's just me. So Air Force, we talked. A system play. Road Dogs with a low total. Oh, my God. You can do your tickets, G. It's fine. I did the 7-teamer. Yeah, that's a good 7-teamer. I liked it. I almost changed one of the games to take Michigan under because it's 60, but I let it alone. You can still take Michigan under. So Eric's trying to invent something. He's trying to invent a Madoff here. It's Road Dogs with a low total. This is 44. No, this is 46 and a half. Just a second. I got to say hi to Daria. All right. So Eric's coming in. He's bringing something to class that we have to see if it makes any sense at all. So it's road dogs with a low total, which this is 46, in the same conference on the road, getting 7 or more points. Comments like that will turn the real D into the fake. No, this is Eric, not the real D. I got to check who Utah State is playing. They're playing the Air Force. What's better than Utah State? Bad connection. Oh, I think the Army under is better than that. Todd, Utah State plus 15. They lost by 10 versus Iowa. Air Force, similar defense, or take the game under. Well, obviously it's 46, so they're saying it's an under. Just a second. Okay. So Todd's doing some good analysis. The question is, Air Force and Iowa. Air Force has an offense, Iowa doesn't. So Iowa, yeah, they're gonna. Well, let's look. What was the score of this Iowa game? All right, so let's break this down, professor style. They play Iowa at Iowa first week 24-14. Then they beat Idaho State 78-28. So that doesn't count. It's a high school team. So against Iowa, they lose 14-24. They lose by 10, which is probably where they're getting this line here. Air Force's quarterback put up 1,000 points, or he had like 1,000 yards in his first game. So let's go to Air Force. So you're looking for comments. So they beat, I guess, Robert Morris 42-7, and then Sam Houston, they beat 13-3. So I don't really know why this is such a low scoring thing. I mean, obviously, if Utah State plays Iowa, had they played Maryland, they would have been a 60-point game. So Vegas takes their little stats and doesn't really figure out that they played Iowa and give them more or less credit for. So they only got 14 on Iowa, so I don't think they'll get more against Air Force. Are they going to stop Air Force from putting up a 30? 13 on Sam Houston says, well, maybe not. Although Sam Houston, they lost like 14-0 to the BYU, so they might have this great defense, Sam Houston. Hard to say. I don't know. I wouldn't monkey around with it because of some strange trend that. So you're saying it's like what, 61-19, 70% in the month of September. It's got to be specifically in the month of September. 61-19 in this situational play. Problem with that, Eric, is it's really hard to bet like that because you don't have markers. You don't have things you're looking for. You're just taking some trend and you're saying, well, if they're a road dog and it's a low scoring game, is the quarterback injured? I would never bet like that. You got to know the teams. You got to know the overs, unders. You got to know the quarterback, the defense, the coaches change. That type of trend is, I mean, if you want to play a trend, play Seattle as a dog against the Lions is like 95% because they're like 27-3 as a road dog. But even then, I still don't know if I'm going to play it. But I got 90% trends all over the place because I track the teasers. But are they any good if I'm using Indy's trend and now here comes a new quarterback? Do I still use it? Well, I don't know if it'll win or not. I don't think I'd be betting against Air Force at home, but I'd talk in teasers. I don't have the game marked at all. Hard to say. I know Air Force has a new quarterback. So what the thought process is here is it's a low-scoring game, so they don't have good offenses, which is not true. And I'm going to take the dog because it's more than 7, so the offense won't score that much, which is not true. Then you have Utah State. This game probably should never be an under because they played Iowa. So they lost 24-14 to Iowa. They gave up 24 points to Iowa. That's not a good defense. Iowa's terrible offensively. Look at the game last week with Iowa State. What was the score? Oh, it was 20-13 with the good Iowa State defense. So I don't know. I'm not crazy about Utah State at this point to be jumping on them. Like I say, there's a whole menu out there, and there's so many different games that I like that are so much better than that one. And I don't use the trends very much, and I don't use gimmicks like this. Does it work? It's apparently working, but maybe, I don't know. Not my cup of tea, so I'd be very careful with that. Air Force at home's pretty fucking good. And I don't buy this over under 46. Again, they played Sam Houston 14-0. Maybe Sam Houston's got a Georgia defense, and then we know Iowa's got a good. So it's who they played kept the score down. Does not mean they have bad. Look at the Houston Rice game, right? You'd have thought that had been low scoring. Houston keeps. Houston plays UTSA 17-14. Oh, they got a good defense. Rice loses 35-7 to Texas, and then they play a 40. What was the score here? 43-41 Rice. Where would you have gotten that from? And that, I think you might get that tonight. The thing is with Air Force, they'll keep the game under because they'll run the clock. So the only way I could play this game would be under because Air Force will have there'll only be 5 possessions in the game. Does Utah State have a good defense? Hard to say. I don't think so. So let's see. What was that other game they played? Utah State. They played 78-28 to Idaho State. They gave up 28 to Idaho State. They gave up 24 to Iowa. They don't have a strong defense. So I can't bet a team that has a weak defense, especially in a gimmick. Be careful. You've got to know why you're making the bet, and that's not a good reason. Now, I'm not trying to knock you or pick on you, and if you certainly want to play it, it's a reason, but just a second, Hey Jacob, I'm gonna have to call you back. I'm in the middle of teaching right now. When are you? Give me about an hour, about 3:30.
Yeah, that works for me.
Call you on this number or your cell?
This number. It's a little bit easier to work with that work.
Okay, about 3:30. Okay, I'll talk to you later.
All right.
That's the recruiter from Harley. He feels so guilty because he fucked up the contract. That he's trying to help me, but teaching class now. Much more important than this. We understand, Eric. No, we don't mind it, but it's probably not a real good reason to bet it. Utah State plus 15. They lost by 10 versus Iowa. Air Force, similar defense, or take the under. I think it's an underplay more than that, but it's not I can't play Utah State under because they're an over team. Eric, Air Force team total under 27 is minus 145. I don't get into that. It doesn't have to be in September. Okay. Bobby, no, is highly tempted to get some Chinese. Where are you going, Bobby? But trying to be going, go get Chinese. Just order a meal that isn't fried. Eric, I was just sharing knowledge. Y'all don't have to bet on it. Well, we appreciate it, Eric. Not a problem. Don't worry about it. Want some damn sesame chicken? We'll go get sesame chicken. All right. Yeah, I thought about the whole teaser thing last night when Philly blew the cover by half after being up by 20. Losses like that are the worst. I stick with teasers and money lines. Don't play money lines. So you play a teaser. I was laying a half a point with Philly. Why would I play a money line? And I'm laying 110 on the bet. I'm staying away from Air Force. They play Army under. The play Army under. Yeah, I Army for sure without Frank Harris. 40 under 50. We know Army. Now they're trying to throw a little bit more, but against UTS's defense and no Frank Harris, this should not be a high scoring game. As we got with the Navy, Memphis was a 52. Memphis is usually very explosive, and yet they held them to 28, and Navy got 24. So you're analyzing Navy going, yeah, they're getting better and better. Okay. Free picks. Notre Dame laying 34. Why? Because Central Michigan sucks. They gave up 45 points to New Hampshire last week. New Hampshire. Notre Dame put up a 50 on NC State and a 50 on the Navy, and you can see here Memphis only put up 28 on the Navy. As long as Hartman is healthy and playing, we love Notre Dame. 34 will be a first half. They'll be in the 50s probably. To go with that, we're taking Prime laying 23. Colorado State gave up a 50 to some nobody. And they're making words. I heard in the radio that in the car that they're picking on Prime because it's like a rivalry game, and they're saying something about his sunglasses, and now Prime's all pissed off. So he might even play. So Colorado State has this is how you want to analyze. Colorado State has no defense, and I got Colorado with a explosive offense, which they showed against TCU, and they showed pretty much against Nebraska once they got going. This is not Nebraska's defense. This is Colorado State, who has no defense. So what I'm doing is these teams with the no defenses, and I got good quarterbacks and good offenses, they're going to blow them out because this is college football, and that's what they do. Notre Dame wants to be ranked number 1 or 2. Well, they know they can't beat Georgia, but number 2, so they got to win 50-0. That's the whole ideology of college football, why we like these big numbers when we get the appropriate offense and defense and the appropriate quarterback. So we have matchups. This is how I like to bet is matchups. Weak defense, strong quarterback, we're going to light them up. That makes sense. That's what I was trying to do with Texas Rice the first week. Rice played a little stronger defense. Yours put up 34 in Alabama last week. So I wasn't off that Texas had an offense. They just didn't play the fourth quarter where I thought Manning would be the ace in the hole coming out and putting up 21 points in the fourth quarter to get him some experience. They didn't go to Manning. So therefore, that was the only part of the equation that didn't work. And Rice's defense apparently is not that well. It is bad, right? So they play Houston 48-46, but Texas doesn't. Texas puts up 34 on Alabama, but doesn't put up 44 on Rice. So yeah, it doesn't work every time. But the logic that you have to have the logic, you have to have the matchup. So that's why you got to be careful with these little trend stuff like that. Yeah, Bobby, don't play money lines. You're not getting a good line, even if you play the dog. So in a game, it's 110, right? If whoever you take, it's 110 to win 100, right? In normal places, right? It's 11-10. Once you hit money line, it's so skewed. So let's say you take an even game, it's going to be 120 and 120. Well, you get worse odds. And in this case, what did I had? I basically had Philly -0.5 was basically a money line. Now, the difference with me is I can find 100 games to tease with it. Maybe you can't find the games, so you don't have a second game to play. But with me, now I got Philly in, and I got the second half at this reduced number. So my odds on winning are greatly improved because I'm already only laying a little bit in the second game. So that's kind of what you do. Bobby with this Chinese, Todd, I'm staying away. Okay, gee, it's 24 now since the coach started talking at Prime. What? It's 24 now since it's going to be a good as game. Oh, so you're talking about Prime. Yeah, I think they killed Colorado. Oh, first of all, I don't think Colorado State's got the defense to stop them anyway. I don't know why the coach he must not like Dion for some other reason. I don't know I thought it's Mike Norvell or somebody like that is the coach of Nevada. I don't know. Anyway, that's your free picks. Let's go through the line a little bit more. Wisconsin 19. Now we're on Saturday. Wisconsin 19.5, 65.5. This is an interesting game. Georgia Southern's a pretty strong offensive team. Washington State was lighting them up, but then I saw Wisconsin Mordecai started throwing some nice long passes. So at the end of the day, this is a high-scoring game. If I can find it. So you have Wisconsin off of a loss, but they're adjusting. The new coach, the new quarterback, the new offensive coordinator, the new defensive coordinator. I thought they had that guy from the pros as the coach. I guess he left. At safety, he was really good. So do I say FK it, fuck it, and get the sesame chicken? Have to get blood work this Tuesday. Well, you really want to avoid fried foods. Do they have anything there that isn't deep fried? Because what they're doing is they're not even cooking it, Bobby. They're taking frozen chicken, they're taking it out of the freezer, and they're putting it in, putting some sauce in, and that's the problem with most of the Chinese, unless they can walk it. That's why I go to mine, because it's a chain. Like today, I'm going to have a hamburger. I had all the chicken, and then now it's hamburger time. So I make 3 pounds of hamburger. So I have hamburger for lunch and dinner. Chinese is the perfect. I'm not going to cook. I'm not going to make it myself. Although when I do get the chicken breast, I have been sort of making it. I've been putting honey in it, French dressing, and not cinnamon, but other lemon and other flavors that they might use in Chinese. And I don't fry it. I broil it, and it tastes good. Bobby, you don't have to apologize. Where's Luke to ask you if you're real or not? I kind of. Hey, we got this. We get some strange birds, don't we, Bobby? We can only ask, is Kenzie real or not? We should ask her what hospital she was born in. All right. Florida State, 24.5, 46.5. BC's terrible. I got them as a Z team. I mean, they lost to freaking Northern Illinois, I think. 26. Florida State should just be blowing this team out. They got the quarterback. They got the defense, so they're going to probably shut out Boston College. Over under 49.5. So, yeah, I look for Florida State here pretty big. Wake and Old Dominion. See, this is a game. The whole point is the expected outcome. What's the expected outcome here? How bad are these teams? How bad's Old D? Old D's an over team, so they can score. They don't have a defense. Wake's a B. But again, they played Vandy. Wake's laying 14 on the road. Old D's in Virginia. Wake's in North Carolina. Okay. The better team is Wake, but are they going to cover it? I don't know. That's the problem. And so you dig into the quarterbacks and you look at what the quarterbacks are doing and stuff like that, which I did the other day. But that's really a good spot. So, all right, just for shit, let's look at the Utah State quarterback. All right, I got to go to the other. This will make our final summation of this Utah State game. So we go here, we go to stats. And we go to Mountain West. And I'm gonna conclude this. All right, Mountain West. Hawaii, Schwieger, 10-5. Mikey Keys, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks. Colorado State guy, this is why we're betting against them. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception for 210. Dylan Hopkins, New Mexico, 4-2. Boise, Taylor Green, 2-3. Anytime you see like more interceptions, the quarterback sucks. San Jose State, who I like, Cordero, 5-0. Wyoming, Peasley, 5-1. Here's Legis, Utah State, 3-1. Okay, not too bad. San Diego State's guy sucks, 3-3. Nevada sucks, 0-1, and that's why we're going against Nevada. And Colorado State, the other guy, Clay Millen's hurt. That's why. So Colorado State is Brandon Nicole's probably a runner. Well, he threw for 200 yards. And then Vegas. Vegas has 0-1 with Brumfield. So to end this Utah State thing, Cooper Legas, 169 yards per game, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. They must be a pretty good running team, I would think. All right, so back to here. So the quarterback doesn't bother me. So they're going to run on Air Force. Good luck. Anyway, I'm not scared of their quarterback. All right. Moving on, class. I don't know what to do with Old D. They're pretty good offense. Wake doesn't have. They're getting over Hartman, so we got to see. But it's a little early. We'll start really pegging the quarterbacks in probably after this week. They'll have 3 games in, most of them. Then we can see are they any good, what's going on. Because a lot of these teams have played these high school teams, one of their 2 games. So it really skews everything. You don't know what to make out of it. Now they've got 2 real games in, and it gives you something. You can use the high school game a little, but not too much. All right. Liberty 3.5, 54.5 against Buffalo. Liberty's an A team so far. Buffalo's an over team. Buffalo played Wisconsin. They scored 17 on them. I think Buffalo's a live home dog in this game. They were a pretty good MAC team. Liberty, I don't like the quarterback at all. That Burmeister from Boise, he sucked there. So probably a good home dog. Indiana, Louisville 10.5, 50.5. Louisville's more of an A team. Indy. Now, what happened in the Ohio State game? Was it they got this great defense, or Ohio State's quarterback sucks? Which I think that was the answer. I'm not buying that. Indy's this great defense all of a sudden. Minnesota, yes. Iowa, yes. Iowa State, yes. Georgia, yes. Maybe Washington State looked pretty damn good against Wisconsin. Not Indiana. So I think this is Louisville all over it. Louisville put up a lot against Georgia Tech. They got the new coach in Brom, who was the Purdue coach. So he knows Indiana, but Indiana, they're going to have to play him like it's Purdue, I guess. Louisville at home, 10.5, 50.5. See, I don't know what Indy is. Are they going to – they didn't score on Ohio State. Are they going to let Louisville, who they should? Louisville is not a strong defense. They played Georgia Tech to a 39-35. They did come from behind. They gave up 35 to Georgia Tech. So I don't know. I would have to think Louisville minus 4.5 here. There's a lot of these games where you're really not quite sure yet. Penn State and Illinois, interesting game. Penn State 14.5, 48.5. These teams look really good at home against West Virginia. Then they played a high school team, and now they get Illinois, who we thought was this great defensive team, only to find out they're not. Toledo lit them up. Kansas lit them up. So are they really this good defensive team? No, they're not. I mean, it's a noon game. I think Penn State kicks the shit out of them. Now we know it's the kids' first road game because they got a new quarterback. 5-star, big fucking deal. He was good against high school players. That's the thing in college. You got an 18-year-old who is good against high school players. As a senior, he's probably playing juniors and seniors. Then he goes up. Now he's playing 22-year-olds. He's playing seniors who maybe are 23. So he's got to be careful. He's got to be careful with the who he's playing. So it's a little bit of doubt. Again, Penn State at home versus Penn State on the road, two different teams. They'll beat Michigan at home, and they get killed at Michigan. Ohio State, they play them tough at home and lose, and then they go to Ohio and get killed. So it's amazing how much this home field advantage is. But I don't know, 8.5. It's too big of a number. 48.5. It's probably an over because Illinois. I mean, they played a 58 with Toledo and a 60-something with Kansas. Now, Kansas is a much better offense than Penn State, so we will see. But I would think I'd go over 42.5 here is the only way. I'm not fucking with Illinois, and I am not taking Penn State on the road in the kids' first road game. No. K-State, Missouri, this game, 3.5 and 48.5. I sit there and I just don't know why I wouldn't just take Kansas State because they're clearly the better team. I love the quarterback. They run the ball to the option. They have a great defense. And if I'm taking defense, Missouri is an under defense. But let's see who Missouri's played this year. We know how strong KC is. They beat what? SDAC was at South Dakota, 35-10, and then Montana, Middle Tennessee State, 23-19. Yeah, Kansas State all the way here. I might have to add that one to the chart. Are you kidding? They barely beat Middle Tennessee State 23-19, and now you got Kansas State. Kansas State, I mean, they beat TCU last year, Texas, Oklahoma. They play with the big boys, and they beat them. And they just you win because of the defense. See, that's what I'm trying to get you to look at, guys, like Eric Todd, is you're betting because of the defense. That there's a purpose to the bet, right? The defense triggers the bet. Do they have a good defense? Okay, I'm going to Kansas State, I'll take them. If they have a bad defense like Colorado State, then we're going to go with Prime and we'll make it a free game, or Notre Dame, because the team they're playing doesn't have a defense. I got ace quarterbacks. Hartman should be the first quarterback drafted, and then this and Prime Jr., when he's there, will probably be a top 5 pick. I got excellent quarterbacks going against high school defenses. They're going to just light it up. These games will not be close. So you must keep that in mind. These games will not be close because of the defenses are weak. So what you're looking for to pick the game is excuse me, is the defense. You go up against Georgia. You want to fuck with Georgia? I don't care if they're a road dog getting 7. You want to fuck against Georgia? Good luck. Okay, maybe it's only Mountain West. Maybe it's this and that. But I got to know the teams, the defenses, quarterbacks, not just because they're a road dog. But I understand the concept. Not a lot of offense, but I don't know that that's right because they played Iowa, and had they played Illinois, they might have scored 40, and it would be a whole different line here. So keep that in mind. Thank you, G. Bobby, I like TCU a lot tomorrow. Todd, yes, K-State. Howard can beat Alabama this year. Howard, yeah, I was shocked that Alabama. First of all, I was shocked that they played their players. Every other team, the players are sitting out. Every other team, they're sitting out, right, in the bowl games, right? And here's Alabama playing all their players. They don't have to get ready for the draft. They were trying to send a message that we should have been in the playoff. Well, guys, you lost 2 games. Guess what? You lost to Ohio State. So that's what you're looking for. So, yeah, Kansas State's a solid team, solidly coached, good defense. All right. LSU, Old Mississippi State. LSU 9. Here's Bobby's play. How much for my locks? I see 70. I think it's $75. And there's 3 lock games, so there's 5 locks. I got 1 team and 2 locks. That's how much I like them. But there's 3 lock plays, so you can play with the free plays. So that gives you you can play a 6-7 team teaser. So you can play the lock with Notre Dame or the lock with Colorado plus the lock with the Kansas City over or the lock with the Houston under. That gives you a lot there. Yeah, I mean, but you might as well, if you want, for the $100, for another 20, you get all the picks. So for 1 week, it's 100, all the pro, all the college, and the locks included, or just the locks, I think 75. So Bobby's like, what you like TCU a lot. Saban benched Milrose. Well, you should have done that. You shouldn't have never have played Milrose. Milrose wasn't ready. Might affect the spread, but those are the variables we talk about. Well, the biggest variable, G, that you got to understand is the quarterback and the injuries, the coaches. So with Saban there, Alabama's this, and then they have the quarterback. So I told you they had a bad quarterback. The quarterback threw about 2 or 3 picks. They lost to Texas. Also, their secondary couldn't cover anybody. Milroe, he's in there because he's fast, but he can't throw, and he throws a lot of picks. I don't know who he's going to, if he's any better. Probably more of a guy like Mac Jones, more of a passer, I would assume, because if you wanted a runner, you had Milrose. Well, Bobby, where do you come up with these games? You totally missed the concept. You're supposed to be going. Okay, we're going to the art of war. What does the art of war say? Go against the weakness. What's the weakness? The weakness is Colorado State. The weakness is Central Michigan. The weaknesses are the Z teams. Why do you want to fuck with LSU at Mississippi State, and you want to fuck with TCU Houston, and you want to fuck with Tennessee Florida? Why do you want to fuck with the really strong games that you probably should be playing the dogs in? I don't understand your concept. I explained risk and reward. You have the same reward, but you're playing a much higher risk. Why? You want to play as little risk as possible for the same reward. That's my point. And that's what you keep running into, these LSU, Mississippi State, LSU 9.5, 53.5. Mississippi State to beat a good Arizona team. They won another game. Pretty good offense with Rodgers. All right, let's look at your history here. LSU, history. LSU won 31-16, 28-25 at Mississippi State. Mississippi State won in 20, 44-34. And we can't count 19 because that's Joe Burrow. So Mississippi State wins at LSU in 2020, but that was probably a COVID game. LSU wins at Mississippi State, which is what you have now, 28-25. It's not like they kill them. And then LSU was a home dog last year, and they win 31-16 as a home dog. Now you got them like in 21. You got LSU at Mississippi State, where they won by 3. So they play each other every year. So it's not like Mississippi State's intimidated by LSU, right? teams used to be afraid of Alabama, but if you play them every year, you get comfortable with them. So that's why I always say the teams in the NFL, like Detroit, Chicago, play twice a year. Detroit, Minnesota, twice a year. So you take the dog a lot because they see each other all the time, and they've got all the plays down, and they're not afraid of the team that they see. Sort of like San Diego, KC. San Diego is not going to be afraid of KC when they play them twice a year. Now, if San Diego had a good quarterback, good coach, they might actually win the games. Anyway, so be careful. You're making a very you're taking a lot more risks than you should. Does LSU going to win? I don't know. Let's look at LSU, Mississippi State. I got LSU as an over, and I got Mississippi State as an A team. I know what I saw against Florida State. They lit them up. So the better defense here is probably hard to say if it's Mississippi State because LSU played Florida State, but probably even in defense. And LSU, again, I don't like Daniels. You keep betting on a quarterback that sucks. What he threw 3 picks against Florida State. What's he going to do here at Mississippi State? And they just played a really good Arizona offensive team and held them to 24. It was 24-24 going into overtime. So that's all I'm saying, Bobby. Just think, bet weakness. He's not. He's a runner, and that's but a lot of those. That's why I bitch about Lamar. He's a good runner, but he's not a good quarterback. And in the NFL, you've got good receivers and you've got good running backs. So I refer to it as a chess game. Lamar wants to play chess without the rooks and bishops, but Mahomes uses his rooks and bishops. So that's why KC wins Super Bowls and Baltimore doesn't win anything. So I know, Professor, don't like LSU tomorrow. It's not that I don't like them. They might win. I don't. If I'm talking betting here, which is the point of the course, it's not a prudent bet because they're at Mississippi. Saturday night at Baton Rouge. Yeah, I like LSU. Saturday afternoon at Old Mississippi State, I'm not all on LSU. I don't like Daniels. I do like the coach, but I don't like Daniels, the quarterback. He turns it over too much. Mississippi State has a good defense, as they showed you against Arizona. This game should be close, and it wouldn't surprise me if Old Mississippi State won. All right, Eastern Michigan and UMass, I have no fucking idea. Eastern 6.5, 50.5. I've got I got Eastern as an under and UMass as an over. The quarterback's questionable. That big guy that was running the option against our New Mexico State team. So he's questionable. I don't know how good either team is. I don't know what UMass got killed by Auburn, and then so you don't know where they are. So this would be a good thing. If they go on the road and win, then they're probably okay. If they lose 21-0 to Eastern, then they're probably a Z team again. So too early to tell there. Notre Dame, we've talked about. UConn, 7.5, 41.5. Against Florida International, the overs went up 2 points. 7.5, 4. UConn. I got UConn as weird. I got him as an under with an over defense, and I got Florida International as an E team, so they score mid-20s, give up mid-20s. So both defenses are kind of weak. I don't see Connecticut. Now, per Eric, I would like the dog in this game, which is a 40 over under 41.5 now, up from 39.5. I would like Florida International as a dog here because UConn can't score 10 points. That's what it makes sense is when you really what you're trying to tell us, Eric, is when you got a team with a weak offense being the favorite, they can't score enough to cover the teaser. So in other words, I got 12.5 with Florida International. Connecticut will be lucky to get 14 points, and to shut out Florida International is not going to happen. This is like my bet Northern Illinois, Boston College in week 1 when I said I like money line Northern Illinois, and they won the game because Boston College doesn't score. So a team that doesn't score is favored. So we go to the pros, Houston and Indy, and Houston's a 1.5 point favorite. Well, they're not going to score 7 points in the game. Now, we like the under a lot better, but how in God's name are they going to? They're not going to score 7 points to cover the 7.5. Now, we'll probably get a defensive touchdown or a pick six, a strip sack, a punt return, something. It's the only way you're getting points in that game. But the weak offense cannot be a favorite because they can't score enough, and they're not going to blow out the other team. The other team will eventually score, and then there goes the weak offense couldn't handle it. Alabama 33.5, 61.5. So if what G's saying is correct, which I believe her, why the hell did the spread go up and the over-under go up? Interesting. You'd think if Melrose is out and he's going with the backup, then the over-under goes down or the spread goes down, but the spread went up. So what is Joe Namath coming in or Snake Snabler? Interesting. I think the only way you can play now, Alabama off the loss. I like the game over. South Florida can score, has no defense. Before, I would have thought Alabama would cover, 61. It's 61.5 down, 55.5. I think Alabama gets all 55.5 for us. I think they get the over. Now, the question is, now you got a new quarterback. So now you're throwing another thing in the ointment or whatever you call it. So this will be curious. I think I missed today's games. Any solid plays for tonight's games? I know I'm usually a strong under, but not sure if UTSA will score. Well, I don't think Frank Harris is playing. He's hurt his toe. That's why I like the under, because they played good defense the first few weeks, but without Frank Harris, they're not going to generate much. Army, as you've told me, is no offense. So this is a really good under, I think, Army UTSA, because Frank Harris isn't playing. His name is Tyler Buckner. Never heard of him. We'll see. And against South Florida, he shouldn't have a problem. He's probably more. Well, let's go to the Athens. Fucking Bama. SEC. All right, let's go to fucking Bama. Florida, Georgia. All right, so we're doing the East. All right. His name is Tyler Buckner. Well, they have a guy, Ty Simpson, who was supposed to get the start. Must have got hurt. Milroe was second as a sophomore. So let's see if they even mention this guy. Milrose in his third year brings the most experience to the room after playing in a game and a half last season when Young was hurt. Milroe would bring the most running ability to the position. Ty Simpson, a five-star in 2022, only saw limited late action as a freshman. new coordinator, Tommy Reese, so that's another problem. We'll use Saban's playbook and not the system he ran at Notre Dame. I don't blame him. It doesn't mention the guy. All right, there is no mention of who's this guy, Tyler Buckner. I have no idea. So he's not listed in here. Right. This other guy was listed as the starter, but Milrose got it. Maybe he's injured. Now they're going away from Milrose to this other guy who I never heard of. So we will find out. They're playing a very easy South Florida team. A very easy defensive South Florida team. They have no defense. Good offense, though. So now you can't bet the over because you don't know what Alabama's going to do with this new guy, Tyler Buckner. We'll see. Now you would think Alabama's only going to get good recruits, so he should be a good thrower if Milroe was the better runner. But again, yeah, well, that's the whole point. There's too much uncertainty. Okay, so what do I talk about? Expected outcome. What's the expected outcome? We don't have a clue because we don't know what the income is. So we have a new quarterback who we've never heard of. He's not in the magazine. He's never played. How do we know what he's going to do? And he must be okay to get rid of Milrose because Milrose, if that's all you got, why would he bench him? So by benching Milrose we know sucks. Now you got to figure how good's this guy. Well, he's probably a good passer, but yeah, there's always better games. So it's unfortunate for loss, and you can't take advantage of it against South Florida in a game they would kill. But so we'll watch and see. But like I said, I told you already, Alabama probably has 4 losses this year. And they lost to Texas. That's one of them. A&M, LSU, and Tennessee. That's your 4. And they've come through on the first one. So this is a terrible Alabama team. So, Bobby, can we bet Herb Kirkstreet or Kirk Herbstreit or whatever his name is? Can we bet him? Because he thought Alabama was going to be the best team. And I laughed at that, saying they're not better than Georgia. They're going to lose 4 games. They might lose more if Ole Miss gets a hold of them. I'll tell you, Ole Miss and Old Mississippi State are very good teams this year. They could lose 6 games, Alabama, because if they don't have a quarterback, their defense sucks. Can they run? I don't know. All it's been is Milrose running. They don't have a running back. So the Lions will probably draft their running back. Anyway, so what you're doing is we're weeding out the bullshit. Like we should bet Alabama. It's like Cincinnati. You should bet Cincinnati off of a loss, but they're playing Baltimore, so we can't. All we can do, we can bet Buffalo off the loss, but we can't really bet Cincinnati off the loss like Alabama. It just isn't a good thing. How about chicken and broccoli? Is that fried? Bobby, we're talking football and you're talking Chinese food. Well, the broccoli's not. I mean, that's my general chow, right? They don't fry the chicken and it comes with broccoli. I would think all the chicken is just frozen in the freezer, fried, and then you just pull it out and refry it. Like you ever go to a Coney Island, you get like chili or you get chicken. I mean, it's just nuke. It's just they nuke it up. That's why it's disgusting to go to those places. The chili's just nuked, right? It's not even fresh, so it's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, it's probably fried. All their chicken's probably fried. I would ask, but it's not the best. But if you want it, then you can have one meal of fried chicken. Just keep that in mind, and then you probably want to do a 50, 60-hour fast after it to get healthy. All right. East Carolina, App State. I got 8.5, 47.5. I like App State in this game. App State played North Carolina real tough. East Car, they play Michigan, and they're still waiting to get a first down. So again, it's skewed because they played Michigan. The next week, I think they got hammered. They're a Z team from what I can see. App State played a good North Carolina team. They're at home. I think App State minus 2.5, very good play. Minnesota, North Carolina, 6.5. Minnesota hasn't scored yet. They beat the big Nebraska team 13-10. That Prime beat 28-7 or whatever. Carolina minus 7.5. 50.5. It's down to 6.5, 15. This is probably an under 50.5 because Minnesota has a monster defense and no offense. They're joining the Iowas and Iowa States as unders and the Georgias. North Carolina, they'll be shut down. I mean, they beat South Carolina 31-17, right? So it's not like they put up 50 points there. I think this is an under because of Minnesota, who won't score, and they have a very good secondary, and they're going to put pressure on the quarterback. So probably an under. Stay away from North Carolina. Duke and Northwestern, 17.5 and 48.5. Northwestern under team. They absolutely got killed by Rutgers 24-7. Dookie beat Clemson. I like Riley Leonard. They're a strong home team. Northwestern doesn't show much. The coach is gone. I like Duke here, laying 11.5. Yeah, I don't think Duke's going to have much problem with Northwestern. A little bit with the defense, but you think Northwestern has a better defense than Clemson? So Clemson still has a good defense, but Duke's a very good team as they showed, and I would look for them to at home win by 25-30, somewhere in there. San Diego State. Iowa and Western Michigan. Iowa 28.5, 42.5. Western's a W team. They don't score and they have no defense. Iowa doesn't light it up, even with McCaffrey. I think the problem is the coach's son is the offensive coordinator. Clearly is clueless. So even here, I mean, Iowa will score. Let's say they get 30. They'll shut out Western. The over-under 43, so it's Iowa. So it's probably under 49. Maybe the game hits 40, maybe, but I only if Iowa's doing it, but Iowa's very conservative. They'll run it. So I just think it'll be 38-0 Iowa. Somewhere, their defense will dominate and they just don't score that much. Oregon State, San Diego State. Oregon State 24.5, 48.5. And again, San Diego State, we know they're under. UCLA got 33 on them. UCLA started a freshman quarterback from Detroit, and he looked pretty good. So look for UCLA to start rolling now. The quarterback in the first game was not very good. Oregon State's an A team with Uglia Buglia and a good defense. San Diego State with a good defense. I think you got to go under here, even if Oregon State puts up 30 points, which is about let's say what UCLA did. San Diego State's not going to score much against this defense, and you got 48-54. So it's a good under. I think the Iowa under is better than this under, but this should be, two good defenses playing should get you to under. Oklahoma and Tulsa. Oklahoma 28.5, 59.5 to Tulsa. All of a sudden, Oklahoma is playing defense. At least against SMU. I watched that game, and it was a lot of running. I didn't understand. SMU was running. Oklahoma was running. Tulsa's an even team, mid-20s offense and defense. I don't know what to do with Oklahoma. So you're being deceived by the first game, right? 83-7 over Ark State or whatever it was. Oh, they're an explosive offense, and they play SMU and they score 28 against that defense, and you're like, what the fuck's going on? So you're not getting the expected outcome you expect. You expect Oklahoma to score a lot, not have a good defense. Maybe their defense is getting better. Maybe they're going to run the ball more. This is hard to see, and I think we need more information on Oklahoma to get the expected outcome. 59.5. I don't know. I mean, if Oklahoma's not going to score, how do I lay 22? So again, it's a little bit better defense, probably an under actually. If they're going to play like they did against SMU, then they're an under team. So that Texas game will be a really good one. Otherwise, right now, we don't know enough about Oklahoma, right now. Their defense, I don't think they're an over team because I think their defense, they're working on it, is going to get better and probably shuts out Tulsa. They played a 39 with SMU. A 39 total, 28-11. The over-under was 70. They played a 39. I'm busy. So now, I'm not running to that. I think this is under. It's 60. I mean, it's like the Michigan game. If they start playing defense, then these games turn under pretty quickly. Western Kentucky, Ohio State. So here's where we talk money line, Bobby. So Ohio State's 29.5, 65.5. I think Western Kentucky can win the game. I want to bet the money line, but it's stupid. Ohio State is minus 4,500, but if I get money line with Western Kentucky, I only get 1,600. This is why you can't play money lines. Either you're way over spreading with Ohio State at 4,500, or, okay, I want Western Kentucky. I only get 1,600. They're a 30-point dog. I only get 1,600. Avoid money lines. They are not good. Just pick the fucking games. Look at the defenses. I think Western Kentucky getting 35 is a good play here. I think that against Indiana, Ohio State look like shit. And then you get on to, they played Youngstown State and they won 35-7. So they didn't score against Youngstown State, who's in Ohio. I like Western Kentucky plus 35 all day long here. And Western Kentucky's got a pretty good defense. So they're a good defensive team. Good offensive team, we know. Ohio State, I don't like their quarterback. And maybe their defense got a little better. I can see playing the game under 71. I don't see where it gets anywhere near there. Again, this is not Ohio State last year. This is Ohio State this year. You got different quarterbacks. As I tell G, it changes the variables around. Alabama gets a normal quarterback, they light it up. Now they got a shit quarterback, and Ohio State's got a shit quarterback. Nothing will hurt your program more than a shit quarterback. How are you recruiting these guys? You're fucking Alabama and Ohio State. You should be getting the cream of the cream. Or why didn't Hartman go to one of those? But he went to Notre Dame. So it's really strange, but there's no way Ohio State's covering this number. This is way too high. 29, 35 or under 71. Under 71. Where are they going to get 71 in this game? Never going to happen. A&M against Lou Monroe. So Bobby wants to fuck around with Houston and TCU, and here's his Texas A&M just sitting there against Lou Monroe. and he doesn't want anything to do with it. Bobby. 36.5, 53.5. A&M, we saw, scores a ton of points on Miami. They're an over team now. Their defense is not as good. Lou Monroe's an under team. They don't score. A&M off a loss. A&M late 30 all day. Tulane 11.5 over Southern Miss. So let's check our quarterback. Bryn was hurt last week, didn't play at all. I was going to bet the game, and then my guy who puts the bet in said, I see he's out. Do you still want me to make it? I said, fuck no. Michael Pratt is hindered by a knee injury and is unclear if he will. So he's questionable with the knee. I love the, if he will partake in Saturday's tilt. I mean, what the fuck? Is he questionable or not? So I doubt he's playing. It's 11.5. Tulane, if I can find them. Tulane. Here they are. Down from 12, 49.5. They're both over teams, provided the quarterback plays. So there it goes. It's skewed the variable. You don't have the quarterback. Tulane's a very good team, but the second string quarterback was okay. Laying 11.5. Southern Miss, pretty good offense. Neither team has the defense. It might go over even with the backup quarterback. He wasn't too bad against Ole Miss. I probably think the backup will be okay. So I like this game over, I think, is a good way to play it. Washington at Michigan State. Jesus Christ. Washington 16.5, 55.5. Lighten it up at home. Go to Michigan State. All these new players. The coach is gone. New coach, interim coach. What the fuck? How does that work? It's like I want to work for Coach A, but now Coach A's gone. I don't like Coach B. I'm not going to try. I don't know. How does it work? Well, Bobby, it's like getting a new manager in baseball. Like the one guy you liked, and then he gets let go, and here comes a new coach, a manager. Do you like him? And does it affect your playing? Maybe, maybe not. So let's look at the game. Washington is a team, very explosive, killed Boise. Lane 16 over under 55. Michigan State, kind of a B team, an under team, but they haven't played anybody. They played Central Michigan and won 35-7, which is why I love Notre Dame. And then they played a high school team last week, Richmond. So what are you going to get out of it? How strong is Washington's defense? Does the game go over because of Washington? Do we play Washington because or do we play the over because we know Washington's going to put up their 50? Michigan State does not have the defense to contain this at all. The fact it's at Michigan State. What time is this game? Oh, this is perfect. This is a 5 o'clock game. Kind of a weird time. 5 o'clock game on Peacock. Well, I'm going to get a subscription in Peacock so I can watch this shit. What are you kidding me? So a 55.5, I think this has to go over. Michigan State should still score. The question is, how strong is Washington's defense? And how weak is Michigan State's defense against a real team, which they haven't played yet? So this is where it becomes very hard to get a feel on it. They beat Central and they lost, and they beat Richmond, Michigan State. Washington's killing Boise, and they killed another good team, a Sun Belt type of team. So I think Washington kills them. Is it better to lay the 10 or go over 49? I got to believe it's better to go over 49 because I think Washington could get it rolling and just easily put up 40-some points. The only thing I don't want to take here is Michigan State in 22. That's not even a thought. That drives me back to Washington -10. And I would not bet a Washington game under, especially 55-61. So the question is, what is Michigan State? Do they have an offense? We don't know. They haven't played anybody. Let's try to pick a score. 42-17 maybe? That's a 59. Over under 49. So, yeah, I think it's an over. I think that or Washington -10. There's just no way Michigan State has any hope in this game. Charlotte, Georgia State. Georgia State 7.5, 52.5. Where are we? Georgia State's a B team. Charlotte's an under team. So they both have good defenses. Apparently, we don't know too much yet. That's Charlotte. Georgia State's -7.5. I have no idea. I'm not even going to try to get. I don't know enough about these teams yet. They haven't played anybody yet. Neither of them played week one. They played the high school teams, and they played last week. So after this game, we'll have a better feel for it. Oak State, 7.5, 48.5 to South Alabama. Oak State, where are you, boys? Oak State's a B team. They're just not scoring. They don't have a quarterback, decent defense. South Alabama, we lost with against Tulane, and they're apparently an over team. I can't take South Alabama here. I like Oak State's defense. So I think that's where it leaves you is, what do you do? Over under 49. It's a tough one. Do I take Oak State -1? They haven't shown anything yet. I don't know. I'm passing. San Jose State, Toledo. Much better game. All right. Toledo played Illinois 30-28. They're laying 7.5. Over under 57.5. San Jose State put up 28 on USC. They put up another 20 on Oregon. So they can score and they have no defense. I think this is an easy over, 58-52. I don't know that I would trust Toledo. San Jose State's got a very good quarterback. They both have very good quarterbacks, which leads you to an over. Now, is San Jose State an over? Well, when you play USC and Oregon, chances are you're an over, or whoever Oregon State, I think. So, of course, you're an over when you play two elite offenses. But, see, again, had that other game, the other team played Iowa, right? And Utah State. But let's say Utah State played USC. They probably would have played, 70-28. And then you'd be looking at them differently. So the fact that they played Iowa and not USC or Stanford or one of these others really skews the analysis because you don't. What do you expect when they play Iowa? But what do you expect when they play USC? Right. So it's a whole different. It gives the team a different appearance. So I like this game over. 52 is nothing. Toledo played a Illinois team to a 58. So Illinois is the imposter. They're not the defense they were last year, so now they're an over team. Bobby, Tennessee, 6.5, 56.5. Good luck, Bobby. I got Tennessee as an A team, Florida as a B team, which doesn't make any sense. They get killed by Utah. Tennessee, it's at Florida, so it's going to be a tough game for Tennessee. Florida should be a strong home dog. Graham Mertz is a terrible quarterback, but he's got to get used to the system. He doesn't run. Tennessee has the speed, has Milton. This will be interesting. I don't really know how bad or good Florida is. I knew they were going to get crushed by Utah. That's it. So unfortunately, this isn't as easy. If this was 7 at Tennessee, we could take them, but at Florida, it's hard. These SEC teams as home dogs here, and they play each other every year. It's extremely hard. Let's look at the history. Let's do that. Let's see. How does Tennessee and Florida play each other? Tennessee won 38-33 last year with Hooker. Florida won at home 38-14. Florida won at Tennessee 31-19. Florida won at Florida 34-3, and Florida won at Tennessee 47-21, and they won the year before. So Florida's won 2, 4, 5 of the last 6, Bobby. Tennessee won with Hooker, laying 11, 38-33. Florida big favorite, Florida big favorite, Florida big favorite, Florida big favorite. So Florida's usually the favorite. There's 2 times Tennessee was favored. Tennessee won by 10 in Tennessee, laying 5.5. And Tennessee minus 11 last year, won 38-33. I think Florida's the play here. Hate to break it to you, Bobby, but I think it's a Florida play. However, I got better fish to fry, so I'm not picking it, but that's it. Cincinnati 14.5, 44.5 over Miami. Miami sucks. Cincinnati beat one at Pitt, laying 14 and 44, 44.5. That number's down. I like Cincinnati. Miami's terrible. No, they got killed by Miami of Florida, which again skews it because now Van Dyke's playing like Van Dyke again. So with that said, is Cincinnati as good as Miami of Florida? 14 is kind of a big number, laying 8. Cincinnati's much better, but they are 10 miles apart. So this is another one of these rivalry games. So I think Cincinnati minus 8 should be good. They're more of an offensive team than the guy had them as a defensive team. Let's go LSU, TCU, Tennessee, and Arkansas. You're the man, Bobby. Can I be your bookie? Can you bet with me, please? You'll make me rich. I can buy more gold if I get you as my customer. Hey, Bobby. So you take the 3 road favorites. The only good bet you got there is Arkansas. I like the Arkansas pick. You're going LSU road favorite, TCU road favorite, Tennessee road favorite. Hey, against good teams. These aren't bad teams. Old Mississippi State, Florida, and Houston. Hey. Where are you getting these picks from, Bobby? What, you got a handicapper you're hiding from us or what? And he's giving you these picks and you're blindly taking them? Because they know, hey, in hell, you should be betting those games. Suffer. All right. LTech 4.5, 69.5. LTech 4.5, 69 against North Texas. They're both over teams, but this over is so high at 69. I got to pass. Maybe take North Texas in 10.5, but this is an overplay, and I'm not gonna 69.5 it. Fuck it. Troy 2.5, 46.5 to James Madison. I like Jim Madison in this game. I think they're the A team. They got the better defense. Troy's kind of an over team. In this situation, this is where you take the dog. Troy's going to score. James Madison's been playing real well, has the better defense. So that's more that's more of the variable you're looking for is the defense, right? Not because of a certain point spread or a certain over-under. It's because of this defense here. James Madison with the strong defense should stop Troy. As we know, defense beats offense. And then they also have a good offense, and Troy has a weak defense. So James Madison's the scorer. They could win the game outright. I like them plus the 8.5 and probably an over 41.5. Northern Illinois, Nebraska. Why is Nebraska favored by 10.5 over anybody? We know how bad they are. They're terrible. Okay, Prime killed them, and they lost to fucking Minnesota 13-10. So they're getting a little better defensively. Northern Illinois beat BC, same situation. I got to take Northern Illinois in 16.5. They're not a bad MAC team. What do we got here? We got them. They're an under team, and Nebraska's a Z team. I wouldn't say they're an over defense. They're probably an even defense. But I just don't see how they're favored by 10 in it. They don't have a quarterback, and I don't know if he's playing, but their offense sucks. That I'm going to, I get 16.5 in Northern Illinois. Where the hell are they going to score 17 points? They didn't do it against Minnie. All right, they have a good defense. They didn't do it against Colorado. I don't think they have a good defense. All right, so points too high. Vandy, 4.5, 57.5. Both teams are over teams. I like Swan's a good quarterback for Vandy. Vegas has I can't remember his name. Pretty good quarterback. This is an over. Neither team's got a defense. Both teams are over teams. So it's a low number, 57.5. So it's 51, and there's no defense on the field. So that's where we would go over with two over teams playing. Lou Lafayette, Levi Lewis, a few years ago, and UAB 2.5, 59.5 against my Lou Lafayette guys. They're both over teams. The over under 59. So this is another over game. UAB they have a pretty good quarterback in Dillon. Lou Lafayette, I don't know who their quarterback is, but they both are scoring. Neither of them have a defense. I think this is over 59.5. See, you determine, do I want the dog or do I want the over? And it's easier to take the over most of the time because you think they'll be scoring. You don't know if your team's going to stay in it because they don't have the defense. So you cancel out the dog for the over in these type of games. Coach Bo, Michigan, 40.5, 53.5 to Bowling Green. Bowling Green's got a quarterback. They got some offense. They're a B team, so they have a pretty good defense, pretty good offense. Michigan's laying 40. They don't even score 40 points. You got to just go under with Michigan. Just in this type of game, they'll just put the pressure on Bowling Green, try to get the shutout, scored their 35, and you're at 50, 53, 54. So it's under 60. Good luck. Yeah. Good luck with that one. Not that they'll be lucky to get anywhere near 40s. So another low score in Michigan. The defense dominates. They're working on their run game. I mean, because their quarterback's not very good, so they don't really play a TCU brand or an Alabama brand where they light it up with 2-3 touchdowns right after another. They march down the field, and maybe they score if they can break away. Like in the Ohio State game, they ran up the middle. The guy goes 80 yards for a touchdown. Okay, that's how they quick score. But the Bowling Green, you probably won't see that. Ole Miss and G-Tech, 2 overs going at it. 17.5, 63.5 is the total. I like the over in this game. 63, 57. Georgia Tech's very explosive this year, and is Ole Miss. So this should be a very high-scoring game, and you're at 63, 57. Not a problem. Pitt, West Virginia, I don't understand. West Virginia is 2.5. I didn't see an injury, so I don't know why the line switched from Pitt -1 to West Virginia -2.5. I would, the way West Virginia played Penn State, I'd be more apt to take Pitt here. But I don't know. West Virginia is pretty bad. They looked it. I don't know. That's at Penn State. This is at home against Pitt. So I would probably take the dog here. What do I got on this game? I got West Virginia as an over and Pitt as a B team. So yeah, Pitt's probably a good dog too. But I like well actually I like the under in the game. Yeah. Akron, Kentucky, 25.5, 49.5. Kentucky is an A team. Akron's an under team. This is Kentucky go under. They should have the defense, so I still like the under here. Akron just won't score, and Kentucky doesn't score a whole lot either. But both have good defenses, or at least Kentucky does, and Akron's been playing better defensively. Syracuse and Purdue. Syracuse 2.5, 56.5. Syracuse is an A team, but they played weak teams. Purdue's an O team. They did play Fresno. Is at Purdue. I like Purdue as the home dog, and I like the game over. I think it should be some scoring like the Fresno State game, which was 39-35. Arkansas, 8.5, 47.5. Where's my Arkansas boys? Here they are. Arkansas is an A team. BYU is a B team. They lost. They beat Sam Houston 14-0. What do we take out of that? I have no idea. I mean, at that number, I like Arkansas minus 2.5. BYU does have Slovis. I like Slovis, the quarterback from USC. He went somewhere else last year, and now he's at BYU. So he's a good quarterback. Both teams have pretty good defenses, but Slovis only got 14 at Sam Houston. Last week was a nothing, and Arkansas, I just like Jefferson too much. So I think Arkansas minus 2.5 is should be a winner. So we'll see, but I'm betting Jefferson there. And I got a good defense. All right, New Mexico State, 1.5, 52.5. This is an obvious over. They played an over with UMass. So New Mexico State will score 30, 40 points. New Mexico's been scoring more. New Mexico State really can't do anything to stop them. So this should be in the 60s easily. We're only laying 46.5. This is should be a much higher score than that. Clemson, Florida Atlantic with a real Clemson show up, 25.5, 51.5. Clemson is still an A team, even though they got killed by Duke, and Florida Atlantic's an under team. I think you got to play this under if Florida Atlantic's really an under team. But are they an under team against Clemson or against whoever they played? And that's really, they're stepping out of class. So I think they don't score anything in this game. Clemson shuts them out, and under 58 should be close to what the number is. Texas 29.5, 48.5 to Wyoming. Wyoming beat Texas Tech 37, 35, something like that. Texas off their hangover. They beat Alabama. Good luck here. They're laying 29, 30 points here after beating Alabama. I couldn't touch Texas with the 10-foot pole this week. I mean, they're going to be flat as hell. Wyoming put up 37, who they don't normally score on Texas Tech. Now, Texas Tech's not Texas defensively, but they still are a Big 12 defense. So I don't know. I got to stay. Oh, excuse me. Texas's defense was okay. I don't think it's that good. I think this has got to be an over. I think this over under 48 is way too low. Texas should score 30 points. They scored 30 on Alabama. I think they can score 30 on Wyoming. Wyoming put up 30 on Texas Tech. Maybe they put up 20 here. So this is a 60-point game, and I think it's just that the total's too low at 48.5. That's ridiculous. So I think over 42 is a joke in this game. Hawaii, Oregon 38.5, 69.5. Here's your money line, Bobby. Oh, you want Oregon? That's 10,000 to win 100. Oh, you think Hawaii's going to pull the upset? Well, that's 3,000 to win. Yeah, I bet 100 don't only win 3,000. There's a $7,000 difference in there. What the fuck? I got a 39-point dog Hawaii, and I think they're going to pull the upset, and I only get 3,000. But if I want Oregon, I got to pay 10,000. This is why you don't bet money lines, because the odds don't make any fucking sense. It's like Madoff doing the odds. So you want to go to Madoff and say, "Hey, I'm going to play the money line with you." Yeah, okay. Here's real good odds. I do like this game over 38.5. Hawaii probably gets in the 20s because they did that against Stanford and Vandy. Two decent, they're not great teams, but Hawaii's at least scoring 28, 30 points a game. Oregon will put up 70. The over-under is 69.5, so we only need 63.5. Oregon will get all the points for you. Hawaii will chip in with a little bit. Okay, Bobby. TCU 7.5, 63.5 to Houston. TCU's an over team. Houston's an over team. Love TCU's offense. Quarterback's back. Looks sharp. Houston, I don't know. They beat UTSA 17-14. You think, oh, they got a defense. Then they lose to Rice 48-46. So you think, well, fuck, they lost to Rice. It's totally two different games. You play a good quarterback, Frank Harris, 17-14. You play Rice, who doesn't have a quarterback, 48-46. What the fuck's going on? Now, was there a lot of turnover? There seems like there had to be a lot of turnovers in the Rice game. There's no fucking way. It's drive, 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 drive. You don't get that much time to put up those kind of numbers. So it had to be turnovers that led to those scores. So we will see. Maybe TCU -1.5. Like I said, they're both over. Maybe you go over. If you think Houston's really the way they looked against Rice and not UTSA, then you go over. But we've already been there with the UTSA game. We bet it over. They scored 37. So, really hard to figure. What they do to UTSA and what they do to Rice. What the fuck's going on here? Yeah, Bobby, I'll be laughing all the way to the bank if you're betting with me. Nebraska's volleyball team can do better than their football team, probably. That's why I'm taking TCU, Professor, because Houston is an embarrassment to lose to Rice. Well, I understand that, but they beat UTSA. So I get that, but maybe it was a letdown. They beat UTSA, and now here they got TCU coming up. So it was a sandwich game. So, yeah, it's very hard to get the expected outcome, get the consistency. We don't know. Houston's normally a high-scoring team. Now they're playing TCU UTSA 17-14. Hard to say. All right, we already talked Colorado State. Take Colorado by 100. Fresno State, Arizona State. Fresno State 3 and 50.5. They are explosive. They got a good quarterback, Mikey Keene. Good program. Arizona State's got a lot of injuries. Their quarterback's out, Drew Pine from Notre Dame. I was hoping that Fresno State would be the dog, their fucking favorite at Arizona State. You can't go over because Arizona State doesn't score. I think you take Fresno State here plus the 3. It's the only way to bet this game. Arizona and UTEP. Arizona 17.5, 57.5 against UTEP. Arizona is explosive. We had them last week. Got the win with Mississippi State. UTEP. What is UTEP? UTEP's an under team, so they stink basically. So Arizona should kill them. 17. Take Arizona, lay the 11. I think you're fine. And Miami of Ohio did beat Bethune-Cookman 48-7, but didn't cover as they were laying 53.5. Oh no, they did, because if you teased it down to 47.5, so you won by a half there. And then we got Memphis beating the Navy. Go Army, beat Navy. So that's college, that's pro. Now I'm going to show you something quickly. An alligator, a 2-minute thing. So we switched to economics quickly.
There's a fight for your wallet happening right now. Some politicians want to pass a bill that would defund data security, steal cash back. Collateral shortage.
Yeah.
We started pulling out collateral from the system, and we couldn't meet because there wasn't enough. Essentially, we had more be a non-fungible asset, right? I mean, it's a piece of physical commodity that you transact with.
To dollar trade. Obviously, that's an FX.
All right, I'm going to
long
bitch
one,
right
short
now.
the other. But on the other side of that, there's a physical side to gold, which makes it quite different. And then, so what I'm saying is, on the 1st of January, Basel III NSFR conditions kicked in, and that I think they evolved from in March 2020 when we had that massive collapse, where we had the liquidity providers offering spot gold with no physical to back it up. And suddenly you've got this divergence where you've got almost $100 spread between the spot market and the futures market, because you've got all your shorts hedged in the futures market. And now someone's turning around to you in the spot market saying, "Give it to me." Well, you don't have it. So everyone races to cover these short bets. And of course, the price is $100 difference per ounce. And it's costs a lot of money for a lot of people. So I think this is when we saw. We've got some good contacts on that in Switzerland. And I think that's pretty much when they brought NSFR standards in, or plan to bring NSFR standards in for liquidity providers. If you're going to provide gold, you sure as hell have to have that physical gold available to deliver. And if you can't offset it in the COMEX or other markets, then obviously you better be sure that you can offset that on the speculators that are siloed inside that market and cannot access the spot markets, the physically delivered spot markets. So it's interesting. And I think, so there's a dynamic shift. I guess what I'm saying is a dynamic shift here, where gold has suddenly become something that has to be noted. And Bank of International Settlements obviously knew what they were doing when they covered all their shorts. Just your thoughts on this?
Well, gold is, as you're saying, it's supposed to be, and it tends not to be at times, but it's supposed to be a non-fungible asset, right? I mean, it's a piece of physical commodity that you transact with, and that's a problem for Eurodollar banks, because they want to be able to fund everything. They want to be able to reborrow and
So this is the problem I have with this idiot. A non-fungible asset. No, gold is an asset. It is real money. This is what I hate when you got idiot guests on that don't know what they're talking. He doesn't understand it's controlled by COMEX, and he doesn't understand that COMEX doesn't want the competition. They don't want competition of this. Now he's talking about this whole thing that the banks run everything, which we already know. That's nothing new. I don't know why Alligator has these, or Mark McGuire has these guests on telling us shit we already know. This is what bothers me. But he doesn't get his price fix. So gold's supposed to be a non-fungible asset. What the fuck does that mean, non-fungible? Why are you using words like that? I'm going to go check what is non. He says non.
purposely hedge collateral. So gold is a non-fungible asset, right? I mean,
Let's look at what the fuck does non-fungible asset mean. So this is the problem. You bring a guest on, he can't talk at that because nobody knows what the fuck he's saying. Non-fungible asset. A fungible token can also be a cryptocurrency. See, this is a Bitcoin guy. Because who else would use this terms? Non-fungible assets, on the other hand, are unique and non-divisible. They should be considered as a type of deed or title of ownership of a unique, non-replicable item. I don't know, what the fuck is he saying? Let's see if we can get a better definition. Non-fungible asset examples. Assets like diamond, land, or baseball cards are not fungible because each unit has unique qualities that add or subtract value. For instance, because individual diamonds have different cuts, colors, sizes, or grades, they are not interchangeable, so they cannot be referred to as fungible goods. So the guy's wrong. Gold is fungible because, well, let's see, all about fungibility. See, each unit has equal qualities that add. See, but that's not what gold is. Gold is fungible. Example of a fungible asset. Fungible things of fungible assets are items or goods that can be exchanged because they are effectively identical and carry the same value, which would be gold. Examples would include US dollar bills, basketballs, a barrel of oil, and most stocks or bonds. Gold is a fungible asset, so this fucker doesn't know what he's talking about. So let's look at comments. We recognize the name, the Teaserking. These are my comments to this for this thing. Read them and then I'll read them. So the first comment I said, well, you guys forgot to talk about BRICS, inflation, gold, COMEX collapse. COMEX collapse, terrible show. You're a gold show. Remember that. That's why we're watching, not to see these stupid guests. Yes, I say stupid guests. Stupid guests. We already know JP Morgan owns the Fed and the banks run the government. We don't want Bitcoin. We want gold. The professor. And the second one I say might be your stupidest guess yet. Why do you bring Keynesians on your show? What the fuck? Stop with these stupid guests. You're losing viewers. The professor. This is what I said. Because he's out of his fucking mind. Excellent report. You know, who are these guys? His cousins. Great conversation. Leads me to think to ask, does America have a trustee? If so, who and where? It's JP Morgan, you fucking idiot. Jeff, is Powell really effectively draining euro dollars from the system as time suggests? What are euro dollars? There's euros and there's US dollars. So he's trying to make a whole new thing, calling them the same thing. He said, oh, the US, there's really no US dollar. Like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? The ideas for a new currency are only so far off as the current currency is trusted. Gold and silver will replace it only temporarily until tokenized gold and silver take over. No, it'll be gold and silver, you moron. The probability of Bitcoin replacing the euro-dollar system is approximately 1. Yeah, exactly. First, Andrew McGuire is an actual expert here. Guys, are gold royalty company share certificates as close as you currently get to gold-backed currency worth thinking about? Gold. How about gold coins? The old gen who cried wolf. I don't know. But this guy, do not, if you see this Jeff Snyder, run. Has fucking clueless. He doesn't know, like, to use the word, it's a non-fungible asset. It's not. It's a fungible asset. It's the same. It's gold. So I'm watching this show today. It's an hour long. He starts talking about this euro US dollar that he doesn't know what the fuck it is. Wow, that's why I'm pretty upset is, I don't know what the fuck. So Andrew kind of said it, but what I'm saying is the guest doesn't understand. He's asking him about gold, but he doesn't understand JP Morgan. He doesn't understand COMEX price fixing it. He doesn't understand BRICS. And he's not talking about the price fixing. And I think he's a Bitcoin guy. So the problem I have was Mark McGuire is you don't know who his guests are. As I said, it's a Keynesian because he's using the terms elastic and fungible. How often do you ever hear me say it? None, because it ain't Austrian. It's he does like I don't. This is where I get lost with Mark. Why does he bring these guys on? This guy's clearly a moron. He keeps talking like, well, part of it was who runs the Fed. Well, we know J.P. Morgan owns them, so we know the banks run them. Like it's not a surprise. Am I the only one who knows this fact? I mean, come on. So of course they run it, but what the problem is what he doesn't say is that they print the money. They think they can just print and print and print, and the money goes to zero, and that's what they don't realize. So a lot of his talk was very confusing, and he's basically talking in weird terms, reminding me of Rick Rude or Reichert, that they talk because they're Keynesians in this funny language, like right out of an encyclopedia, that they're just saying words to say words. They don't know what they're saying. That's what I'm very clear on. You know what I'm saying. I'm very clear of the words I say, and if there's something weird, like fungible, I look it up. Gold is fungible. Gold is the same. Baseball cards, you got a Mantle, you got a Joe Burrow, but the intent of the baseball cards, it's an asset. Gold is fungible because it's all the same. The same gold ruble or the same gold panda or the same gold that's the maple leaf, or in Bobby's terms, all the silvers that he likes. It's all the same. It's all an ounce of silver. It's very fungible. So he says it's fungible, but he doesn't explain it. So nobody knows. You can't challenge the guy. And Andrew's sitting there like an idiot. What is he not? Why is he not saying? And I don't think he said, how much physical do you own? So today he's listening to this guest and, oh, he's kissing his ass. Oh, he's so good. And come back. Yeah, comes back. I ain't watching this guy. I like how he dressed in a T-shirt and long, he's got long hair, but he's in a T-shirt. Yeah, he really got up for your thing. He's a Bitcoiner. And everything he said was that all this currency system is the euro US dollar, but there's really no euro dollar. There's really no US dollar. And the economy is run by bankers. Yeah, we know that, but you're saying it like, what the fuck are you saying? You're confusing everybody because your language doesn't make any sense. You don't know what you're talking about. And to say it simply, JP Morgan runs the Fed, runs the government. We get the banks run it. However, the banks think they can keep printing because they're Keynesians. That's why you have inflation. And he's trying to say, well, the Federal Reserve is clueless. And I'm thinking, no, they're not clueless. But I couldn't really figure out what the guy was saying at all. It was like I said, it's a stupid guy. It was a terrible show. And I lay it right out there like this guy's an idiot. But I say it right to him. Now, the problem is they never respond to me. They never, I'll say, I know more than this guy. Why don't you have me on? And they never have the balls to contact me. I would set the whole thing straight, which is what they never do. They bring on these stupid guests. I don't know what they're trying to do, like piss off all your cousins. I said to him, this is a gold show. Keep it to gold. That was the only bit. And I didn't watch it. So I said, well, where's the gold part? And all he does is, so he asks this guy about gold. Well, that's like me asking the communist about gold. It's not. It's the dollar's going out because you're printing too much. Well, he misses that whole concept. And I don't know what he said. I honestly listened to this. After about 10 minutes, I just rolled my eyes. Then I went back and listened to another section, and nothing he said made any sense. It was a total waste of time. I don't know if I can watch Mark McGuire when he has a guest, unless it's Egon or Alligator. I don't honestly know if I can watch the show because he doesn't. He's not talking about BRICS. He's not talking about Russia. He's not talking about COMEX. What the fuck are you doing a show? That'd be like me doing a football show, but I'm not talking about football. What the fuck is he talking about? Unbelievable. Well, thank you, Bobby. That's what I do. That reminds me, I am now walking over to the drawer to grab my silver and spend some time with them. Yeah, you got to talk to them and then let them grow. Let them bring their friends home. What do you feed them? My goal, I give like chocolate to them. I need to get on your level, Professor. I'm sure you can go swimming in your 600 ounces of silver. Yeah, well, come on, Bobby. Stop worrying about houses. Just go to a no-brain, no risk. They're scared to get embarrassed, Professor. I was watching silver videos earlier and heard that silver is weighed in troy ounces. It's just the way they are. Well, let's look it up, Bobby. Again, it's all ours are troy ounces. It doesn't mean it's an ounce of silver is an ounce of silver. What does troy ounce mean in gold? A troy ounce is a unit of measure used for weighing precious metals that date back to the Middle Ages, originally used in Troyes, France. 1 troy ounce is equal to 31.103467 grams, according to so that doesn't really say. Troy ounce definition, a troy ounce is a unit of measure used for weighing precious metals. So that's all it is. 1 standard ounce, also known as an ounce, is used to weigh other commodities such as sugar and grain. A standard ounce is slightly less than a troy ounce of 28 grams. The troy ounce is to this day the standard unit of measure in the precious metal market. To ensure purity standards, the troy ounce is often abbreviated to read TOZ or OZT. The troy ounce is used to medical troy ounce. So basically, the troy ounce is the ounce of gold. So if it's 1 troy ounce, it's 1 ounce of silver. Let's see what gold is today. Gold's up to $19.25, up $15, $23.06. So very disappointing. That's the problem with Andrew. You want to hear what's going on with COMEX and BRICS and JP Morgan and the Russians. And then he does a show like this. Now, after the show last week, we're all into the gold. It's going to go up and up and up. Then he brings this guy on, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? What does this have to do with BRICS and the gold price going up and the dollar going out and the inflation? And he doesn't touch it. I mean, it's just, and he's looking, if you look at Mark McGuire, he's clueless. He's looking at the guy like, I don't know what you're saying. And the guest is just bubblehead. He's just talking and laughing. Looks like a Bitcoiner with the t-shirt on. The long hair and the t-shirt is a Bitcoiner, right? Because he's young, he doesn't understand gold, doesn't even know what to call it. And then he goes to that term instead of saying, like Andrew's all excited. Well, what do you think of gold? And he's like, yeah, it's supposed to do that, but it never does. That's because it's price fixed. So again, you bring in a guest who doesn't understand price fixing and COMEX. Why is the guest on? And why are you asking him a gold question? For a guy who doesn't understand gold, that's like me talking to the communist about capitalism. He doesn't know. He's a communist. He's going to talk communism. Why do I want to ask him about gold when he doesn't know anything about it? So he doesn't get, we watch it to hear. And that's why, if you notice my comment, we're here to talk about BRICS and COMEX and the gold and the gold price going up. That's why we're watching, not to listen to some fucking moron talk about that JP Morgan runs this economy. Misses is that we know the banks run the economy, but the problem is the banks are printing the money and they don't understand they can't just keep printing it. So this guy thinks it's collateral or whatever he's talking about. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're printing money. It's worthless. It's paper. What part are you missing? And this is where, because I'm an Austrian economist, I can explain it and I know exactly what's going on. This guy talks, but he doesn't know what's going on. He's not understanding. We know the bank's running everything, but the banks are the problem because they're run by George Soros. And he doesn't know that. I mean, that's the most obvious, right? And so, of course, they're printing all to zero. That's why there's world inflation, and they're all going. He tries to blame it on collateral. It's got nothing to do with collateral. It's to do with they're printing that. The simplest thing is you printed this to zero, right? You listen to Aegon. He says, well, it's 98% gone. See, that's why I like Aegon. This is all that's left. But does this guy say it? This guy know it? Is this guy clueless? Again, it's a stupid guess that winds me up because you're waiting to hear that, and then he comes across with this bullshit guest that is fucking clueless. Who do you think's benefiting from this, McGuire? Do you think anybody's learning anything? You just have a guest that talks weird that nobody understands. What the fuck? We don't want that. Sorry. Yeah, okay. I need to get, yeah. Yeah, so that's all. A troy ounce is an ounce. It's just, I don't know, from Troy or something, or maybe Achilles used it, but 1 troy ounce is 1 ounce. That's what an ounce is. And it's just the measure of it's the measure of the ounce. If it's a half ounce, it's a half troy ounce. Maybe I'll go get a silver and show you. I'm going to have to give Mark a call and tell him to kick his little brother square in the asses. These Philharmonics look really nice here. Yeah, I really like them. Let me go get a silver and see if it says troy ounce on it. Just a second. All right, let's see. Yeah, these just say 1 ounce of fine silver. They don't say 1 troy ounce, but it is an ounce. Let's see. Oh, okay. This one does say 1 troy ounce. Let's see, 1 troy ounce fine silver. So does it matter? No, this is 1 troy ounce. And then this just says 1 ounce. But these do say troy, but I think I have different ones. Yeah, and then this one. Yeah, now this is the actual, I think it says $1. Now this is the actual silver. This is the actual real silver that's worth $1 that the government prints. And this says 1 ounce of fine silver worth $1. So if it doesn't say $1, it's the bullion. It doesn't matter. But this is 1 ounce. And then this says, this doesn't say, see, this doesn't say $1 because this is the bullion, but it says 1 troy ounce. There's no difference. As long as it says 1 ounce, you're fine. But that's really what it is. 1 ounce, 1 troy ounce is the same thing. I'm cracking everything. So just as long as it says 1 ounce of silver, so as long as it says 1 ounce, 1 troy ounce, 999 fine silver, you know this is 1 ounce of silver. So when it hits 2,000 an ounce, you'll have $2,000 for it. You don't have to worry that it's a half ounce or a quarter ounce or anything like that. So basically that's just the measurement. It's really, you can say troy ounce, you can say ounce. It's 1 ounce. Silver is priced in ounces, so that's all you're looking at. Yeah, that's the eagle. This is the dollar. See, it says $1, so that this is the real money. But you can see the eagle there. And this is the bullion. You can see the difference, and you can see this says 1 troy ounce, but doesn't say $1. So that's how you know this is the real currency and this isn't, is this says $1, this doesn't. So only the real currency says $1 on it, but as long as they both say 1 ounce, then that's all you're worried about. That's the key, is I know I have an ounce of silver. I still don't have a clear understanding of the worth, professor. What worth? For instance, what's the point of it being worth $1, but an ounce is $24 right now? So if I went to the fast gas station, I can hand them 39 Eagles and put gas in the car. Okay, so there's 2 different things going on here, right? So this is worth $1, which is really worth 2 cents. However, if the paper was worth $50, then it'd be worth more as paper than as money. So because this is, so on one hand, as a, let's say like a quarter, it's worth 25 cents. But because it's not silver, it's only worth 25 cents. And the metal behind it is just worth 25 cents. Because this is 1 ounce of silver and it says 1 ounce of silver over here, 1 ounce fine silver, $1. Well, it's worth $1 of money if you used it as money, but if you use it, the value of the silver is, let's say, $25 or $30. So the value of the silver is more than what it's worth in dollars, but you don't change it. So this is always a $1 silver coin. But if silver is $1,000 an ounce, it's worth $1,000, because then you're valuing the silver not as a unit of currency or money. So in money terms, it's $1. In silver terms, it's 40. Let's say 40. So that's what so when it hits 1,000, it says $1 on it because it's really a $1 silver piece. But because the value of the silver is 1,000, then the value is going to shoot up to the 1,000. So you're valuing the silver over the dollar. That's the difference. So if I went to the fast station and I can hand them 39 Eagles and put gas in the car, well, I can go to the barbecue place and get my slab of ribs and give them 1 Eagle. I can give them this. I pay for dinner, right? So if I just give him 1, in his eyes, it's worth $30. So in his eyes, well, let's say it was a $25 dinner. I could use 1 of these and I could pay for dinner. It would equal the $30. But I wouldn't want to do that now because the price is so cheap. I want to wait till the price goes up. And that's the thing with my gold. I don't want to sell it now at 2,000. I'm waiting till it's 50 or maybe 40 or something like that. So why sell it now cheap when I can sell it for worth a lot more once we know all the shit's hitting the fan? I think thinks that cause he said all he buys is Eagle. Oh my God, Bobby. I think Luke thinks that because he said all he buys is Eagle. Good God, Bobby. What is that? I think thinks that because he said all he buys is Eagles. Well, he buys Eagles because they're, I think, so what I think you're saying is Luke buys Eagles because it's American money. And I'm saying I don't care about that. What I'm buying are bullion because this is an ounce of silver. I'm buying the ounce of silver, and I don't care if it's Philharmonic, Cougar, Maple Leaf, or whatever. I'm buying an ounce of silver because at the end of the day, what's the price? It's silver's worth, let's say, $30 an ounce. All right. It's not American silver. It's silver's worth $30 an ounce. So if you have an ounce of silver, it's worth $30. Oh, look at gold. You own an ounce of gold, it's worth $2,000. It doesn't matter what country. Now, on eBay, yeah, the Cougar's worth a little less, and it equals what the Maple Leaf and the Philharmonic, and they're a little bit less than the Eagle. Just because supply and demand, we're in America, and people would prefer the U.S. because obviously they have no idea what they're doing, and so they'll think they need the U.S. dollar versus the other ones. And to me, I'm buying an ounce of gold, and if I can save $30 because the Cougar's 1920 and the Eagle's 1970, I'm going to buy the Cougar all day because I'm buying an ounce of gold. And as long as it says 1 ounce of gold on it, I'm buying it. That's why the sovereigns from Britain, the James Bond ones, don't say they're gold. They are gold, but they don't say they're like a little more than a quarter ounce, but they don't say that. So I walk up to you, Bobby, and I go, I got this sovereign that's a James Bond from Russia with Love that he pulled out of the case. And here I got a $5 sovereign, which is a quarter ounce. You're going to look at me like, I don't know, prove it. How do I prove that it's really a little more than a quarter ounce? But if I have this and it says 1 fine ounce, then I don't have to prove it. It says 1 fine ounce. Now, you might check it with a magnet. You might put it on one of those things that says, yep, it's authentic. But you're not going to question the 1 ounce because that's what it says. It's 1 ounce. So as long as it says 1 ounce, it is 1 ounce. Therefore, you're fine with it. So that's the difference. So it's frustrating watching Mark McGuire's show when his guy doesn't understand COMEX. He doesn't, instead of just simply saying, look, JP Morgan owns the Federal Reserve. They do all the printing. They're the ones running the economy, which we already fucking know. He comes up with this euro dollar, which nobody, what the fuck's he talking about? Then he's trying to say, well, this isn't really a US dollar. Well, let's read the back. United States of America is what it says, right? If I put the pieces back in, right? This is the United States of America. That's kind of what it says, right? The United States, if I put it all back together. So it pretty much is saying it's a United States of America dollar. What the fuck's he talking about? It's like the gold guy. Where are you getting these guys from? It's almost like he's just trying to show these guys what's going on. So I just scratch my head like, what the fuck are you doing with these guys? They're so stupid. They can't explain it, and they're all Keynesians. So why are you bringing on Keynesians on your show? He doesn't know what he's talking about. Anyway, so that's why I get frustrated, because when I do listen to Mark McGuire, I can't listen when he has a host. Now I want to listen. I want to be open-minded to the guest. maybe this guy knows something, and yet none of the guests know anything. Even the American ones who maybe, you think he's a broker, he's a salesman, he was on Wall Street. None of these guys know anything. They're just salesmen. They don't know. They might say things, but they don't have a clue. That's the problem, is trying to get people that really know what's going on. And to answer Luke, why do I share Alligator and Egon are the only two that apparently know exactly what's going on besides me. And so you want to talk to you want to learn from them, because I can't learn from the others. I know what's going on, but to answer Bobby's question, when I gotta listen to Alligator or listen to Egon to know what they know in Europe or other areas. As Alligator said, well, I know I talked to the Russians and they're coming out with the gold-backed currency soon. I think January, I don't know, but it's coming. So that's all we know. We know the banks run everything, but we know the banks are too fucking stupid and they print money to zero. And that's what they do. I keep thinking I blocked this number. I'm getting calls from Medicaid, and I'm getting calls for the debt that I don't have, that it's in the credit card that is now into 0%. Oh, and by the way, they finally did the swap. So my Chase card 0, and now it's on the Fifth Third. So the transfer finally happened. So I had to move it over. They wanted me to pay the Fifth Third on the 1st. I said, I got rent on the 1st, and I got one Chase card on the 5th. Can we move it to the 15th? So I got to pay it the 1st and then the 15th, but it's just so stupid. Luke mentioned that he owns hundreds of ounces of silver and it's all Eagles. What Luke did, no, I think it's the same one. What Luke did was he bought the box. So there's this big green box. It's like $15,000, and you get, I don't know, I think it's like 500 ounces of silver. So it's a green box that you can do it. Look it up. Now, let me look it up. So that's what he bought, the Silver Monster green box. And yeah, so it contains 500 silver eagles. So what Luke bought is this monster green box. So he bought 500 at a time. That's what he bought. Just FYI. So I go in and buy 20 at a time because I would prefer to buy more gold than silver. But with what's been happening, I'll buy 20 here and 20 there. And I don't care because I'm just spending, it's 20 times 28, so it's $560. Okay, fine. There's no gold to buy, or he's just selling ounces. So I buy for $560. So at $28 an ounce, when it hits 1,000, it's 20,000. Each container will be $20,000 worth. That's where I'm headed to. So that's the thing. So what Luke did was he bought the box. And it's 13,009. But there's also the silver round buffalo is 12,000. So I would have bought the silver round buffalo than the Eagles because it's cheaper and it's an ounce of silver. But if I had $13,000, I'm probably buying 6 ounces of gold rather than 500 ounces of silver. I don't mind buying 20 here and 20 there of this, right? So here's 20 ounces of silver. But why do what do I want 500 ounces of silver for? Now I bought 20 here, 20 there until it got up to 600. But basically, how much gold did I buy, right? I'm buying an ounce here and a couple ounces there. And if I had $600, I'd rather buy a quarter ounce of gold than 20 ounces of silver. Like I said, it's easier to carry. If I go meet Egon in Switzerland, I can put 10 ounces in my pocket. Nobody knows I got shit. And if it's 50,000 an ounce, I got $500,000 on me that nobody has a clue. So that's really, but if I wanted that much silver, I'd be walking around with this huge amount of, with the green box, right? So take this on a plane, right? I mean, come on, you got to be kidding me. Versus taking, 6 ounces of gold, right? And it's worth more than that big box. And, so that's my idea. Yeah, Luke. Yeah, okay. These typos. Luke mentioned that he owns hundreds of ounces of silver, and it's all. Yeah, so that's what he did. He bought one of those boxes. You get 500. Yeah, the new ring. I didn't change my ringer. I don't know. It's the same thing. So I'm not quite sure. But so that's the thing. So what we understand, we know JP Morgan owns the Fed, prints the money, and doesn't want competition to the dollar because they can't compete with gold. That's a simple way of saying what this idiot said for an hour, where he's talking and God knows what he's saying, and Andrew doesn't understand. But if Andrew talked to me for a half hour, he would fully understand because I can explain it in English. Where this guy, the guest, I kept saying, the guy's wearing a t-shirt. How are you on Andrew Maguire wearing a fucking t-shirt? Yeah, I'm going to listen to this idiot. So when you're hard to understand, when you can't explain what you're talking about, it makes it, you lose credibility, because if you're intelligent, you can explain it in a way that people understand it. Otherwise, you're not doing anything. If I talked and you didn't understand it, I'm missing the boat. I'm not teaching. I'm not a very good teacher. But if I teach you so you explain it as I just explained the green box and the troy ounce in very simple terms that you could get, then that's the difference. So yeah, he's talking about fungible and non-fungible, and he doesn't even understand it, and he's wrong. Gold is fungible. And it's very simple. Well, let's ask that question, I think. Is gold fungible? Gold is fungible because gold is fungible because its value does not depend on any specific form, whether of coins, signets, or other states. However, unique items such as a gold statue, yeah. What did he say? So gold is fungible, right? So
it's supposed to be a non-fungible asset, right? I mean, it's a piece of physical commodity that you transact with, and that's a problem for
bets of their swaps to zero. In the meantime, the Fed had dug this deeper and deeper hole by using paper gold to continue to sell gold. Whereas everyone else, every other central bank, every first-tier liquidity provider I speak to, without exception, every first-tier bank that we do deal with, without exception, is long gold. So the only people that are not long gold is the Fed, as far as I can determine, because certainly a lot of the action that we see intraday, you can see, and it's just that inverse dollar.
See, Andrew's trying to explain something he already explained to this guy, and this guy doesn't get it.
One, you short the other. But on the other side of that, there's a physical side to gold, which makes it quite different. And then, so what I'm saying is, on the 1st of January, Basel III NSFR conditions kicked in. And that, I think, they evolved from in March 2020, when we had that massive collapse, where we had the liquidity providers offering spot gold with no physical to back it up. And suddenly you got this divergence where you've got almost $100 spread between the spot market and the futures market, because you've got all your shorts hedged in the futures market. And now someone's turning around to you in the spot market saying, give it to me. Well, you don't have it. So everyone races to cover these short bets. And of course, the price is $100 difference per ounce. And it's cost a lot of money for a lot of people. So I think this is when we've got some good contacts on that in Switzerland. And I think that's pretty much when they brought NSFR standards in, or plan to bring NSFR standards in for liquidity providers. If you're going to provide gold, you sure as hell have to have that physical gold available to deliver. And if you can't offset it in the COMEX or other markets, then obviously you better be sure that you can offset that on the speculators that are siloed inside that market and cannot access the spot markets, the physically delivered spot markets. So it's interesting. And I think, so there's a dynamic shift. I guess what I'm saying is a dynamic shift here, where gold has suddenly become something that has to be noted. And Bank of International Settlements obviously knew what they were doing when they covered all their shorts. Just your thoughts on this?
Well, gold is, as you're saying, it's supposed to be, and it tends not to be at times, but it's supposed to be a non-fungible asset, right? I mean, it's a piece of physical.
I'm making a comment. Okay, I just added this comment. You take your time to read it. I'll read more, so let's read more. Here you go. This is what I just said. So what I said is 4617, your idiot guess says gold is a non-fungible asset, but gold is a fungible asset. Why do you have these Bitcoin Keynesians ruining your show? What the fuck? Have me on to clear up these things. I'm an Austrian. Shake my head. I'm giving you a little credit there, Bobby. Shake my head, the professor. There you go. There's Bobby. Shake my head. It's just, it's unbelievable that he throws these guesses so stupid. I got to get a new computer. This is just fucking ridiculous. I keep getting this UI isn't responding. And I get this white box interrupt everything. Sorry, just a second. What pisses me off, like, you got this guy on for an hour, but you think he's he's not even accurate. He doesn't know what he's talking about. No, why would he say gold's a non-fungible asset? Like it's so only a Bitcoin Keynesian would say, oh no, we don't want gold. Jesus Christ. Okay. Sorry about that. Pressure making me want to sell my silver and get gold. Which video is that? Is it called Kinesis Money? This is one today. It's Kinesis Money, and then it's number 140. So it's the today one, numbered 140. I mean, look at this guy. He comes in a t-shirt. And look at this guy. You going to trust this? This guy's an economist, really? With that look? Sometimes I wear a t-shirt when we're talking football, but I try to, when we're talking economics, I try to at least be in a nice polo shirt or something. I mean, what the fuck? So this guy's very disappointing. One thing he does say that I will give him credit for.
Money that you transact with. And that's a problem for Eurodollar banks because they want to be able to fund everything.
A Eurodollar bank. So what he's trying to say is they want to be in charge, which we know there's no such thing as a Eurodollar bank. And the banks want to be in control because they print the money and they run the government. Duh, we know that, but we don't want to hear. Of course, they don't want gold, but the Russians and the Chinese do want gold, and that's the difference. Stupid commercials.
Cash, and so and currently it's in fact we've got government.
This is CBDC section.
Who's actually starting to push back against that and say no, you really need cash as a legal product, a legal tender, so you should allow it. But quite clearly, there's a move to decash, to move cash out of the system because it provides freedom, it provides the ability to take responsibility and do things on your own. But I guess, does this lead into the central bank digital currencies, and is this really the road we're heading towards?
I would say it's actually the other. That's what's really leading to private digital currencies and blockchain technology.
He's a Bitcoin.
Because you're right. Central banks and governments want to be able to monitor. They say monitor and just minor surveillance over the monetary system, and maybe look behind and see what you're doing, and maybe just try to nudge and influence your behavior a little. Maybe we'll actually impose some restrictions on the way you can use cash. So yeah, there's always that snowball. Let's push the envelope a little bit further with technology, and I think that's leading a lot of people to say, instead of a centralized digital currency, because I think we're moving toward that framework to begin with. Why not a private blockchain technology that can accomplish everything else without the centralized control? Because you think about it, what are banks really? In a virtual credit environment or virtual money environment that we have already, they're nothing more than glorified bookkeepers, which is what a blockchain is. And they're glorified bookkeepers that their entire existence and their entire privilege owes to the political power that allows them to operate as bookkeepers. And so if the government taps them on the shoulder, as you're saying, and says, you need to cancel those people because we don't like what they're saying, we trust the bookkeepers not to do that. But if they've already crossed that Rubicon where they're making political decisions or they're enforcing political decisions, I think that it doesn't just move more people toward private means of settlement like cash, but also private blockchains. Central bank digital currencies, there aren't really any serious central bank digital currency projects out there. Even the Chinese one has been an utter failure because most people don't trust them to begin with. But the bigger problem is they're not serious. in order to run a real, true digital currency, you need to invest in people and technology and infrastructure. It's not something you just slap together because you call it the Federal Reserve's Fed payment or Fed wire. Just slap the Fed name on it and it works. And central banks aren't really putting the time and effort and resources into creating useful digital currencies. So, the central bank digital currencies are a way for central bankers to say, "Oh, don't worry about that digital currency stuff. We're kind of doing that too. So you don't need to investigate Bitcoin or blockchain or anything else or Ethereum. We've got our own over here." It's another distraction to keep people focused on the status quo.
See, he's a Bitcoin guy. He didn't say go to gold. He says, oh, they want to go to a blockchain. So you can tell he's a Bitcoin guy. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And so he's saying there won't be digital currency. Who the fuck, do we believe him? I don't know. I like that answer that, no, don't worry about digital currencies. They're not doing them. They're not even close to doing it. The only one that did it was China, and it's a failure. So so that made me like, okay, good. No central bank digital currencies. But he's trying to say go to a blockchain. Oh, well, why don't you go to Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever the fuck? He's obviously a Bitcoin guy, and he looks like a Bitcoin guy. So we're fine with gold and silver. He doesn't understand it, obviously, which is fine. Who cares? Bobby, what do you prefer? Well, you don't want to sell your silver for gold yet, but you're going to take 10 ounces. What I'm going to do is walk into the gold store with this. I'm going to say, give me 2 ounces of gold as soon as it goes to the 10-to-1 ratio. And that's how I'm going to accumulate more gold. But you'd rather have gold than silver. There's no question about it. It's worth more and it goes up a lot more. So yeah, if I could have 10 ounces of gold or 10 ounces of silver, of course I'd want 10 ounces of gold because it's worth a lot more. But again, if you go to the coin store, you can buy 10 ounces for $280. So it's at the price it's at, it's well worth it because we know it's so undervalued, which this idiot never talks about. That's why I don't understand why Mark McGuire has the guy on. I'm going to look for a phone number to call these idiots. Kinesis money. There's got to be a way to get a hold of them. Which video? Yeah, okay. Listening to him makes me want to give him the rock bottom through a table. Well, that was my point. He uses these words. There's another Bitcoin or blockchain or whatever words that he uses. Like, it's clearly a Bitcoin guy, but the words he uses are not for an audience. At least Mark McGuire will say, well, we're in a ring silo. In other words, this is COMEX. Oh, but over here, the Russians are buying from here, not from here. All right, we get what he means, although he doesn't say it well. But I don't know what the fuck. Why are you? He's spending an hour with this guest. It's like, are you fucking clueless? So I don't really get. He should have somebody like me on it who can explain everything, because he obviously doesn't know. I don't know why he goes to the guest and then he never says, how much physical do you own, which he always says, or maybe he says at the last. I didn't listen to the final ending. I want this guy back on. What do you want this guy back on? Him and the guy who prints, who makes the gold currency can have a chat with each other. So all he basically, like, he sounds like a Bitcoiner there. The Fed doesn't run the economy. Really? We didn't know that. Of course, the banks, because the banks own the Fed. JP Morgan owns the Fed, has the monopoly in printing the money, and doesn't want to give up the money. Now, if you're an economist, you understand free market, Adam Smith, and competition, and you want monopolies. Very simple. If you're not an economist, you can't explain it, and you just rumble around like he's saying, and everybody's like, what the fuck are you saying? So, yeah, that's why I said don't waste your time on the show. It was a very bad show. And I let my feelings know they can read my comments and know that the show sucked. They can read that. So I don't get what it is. I say, you know, I'll explain everything, but they never want me on for some reason. Anyway. I didn't think there was 20 in it because it's a little bit indented, but it is. So I have more talks with my gold than my silver, Bobby. There's too much. There's like 600, and then I got 37 Highland mints. I only got, although I got a lot of gold. When you look at all the pieces, because I got ounces, half ounces, quarter, and tenths. So when you add it all up, I got like 90 pieces or 100 pieces, but it's 55 ounces. So kind of unique. I didn't go, I'll probably go to the gold store tomorrow, but really not working. I probably just, I'm kind of holding my money, and then it's probably, yeah, I'm always teaching, Eric. This whole thing's a class, right? But I switched topics. So now we went from pro football to college football to economics, gold and silver. So there's multiple ones. But that's my point is instead of just doing a pro football video and then a college football video and then a gold economics video, I put it all together. No, the Harley job just ended last Friday. They lied to me. When I took the job, they said it was a 1-year contract. Let that on there a year. I'm turning down other jobs. I'm in Harley, good pay. Out. Then my boss says, "Oh, you're done September 8th." I said, "What the fuck are you talking about? I got a 1-year contract." And she said, "No, you only had you're always done September 8th." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" I called my contract house and they said, "No, you're there for a year." I go, "Not according to them." So it's like this guy in the video talking to Harley going, "Oh yeah, you're there for a year, Howard." And then it's 4 months. But so I saved my money pretty good. And all I did was I bought gold with the money, which is par for the course. I'm still getting Social Security, which I just got Monday. So that pays for rent, food, and everything else. So I just need to pay for the girls and some credit cards, which will come out of my savings. That's why I'm kind of keeping the money alive there. But I moved my credit cards to 0%, so I don't have the interest. And then it'll, there's two things that happen. I get a new job or gold finally goes to 20, 30, 40, 50,000 an ounce. And then I don't need a job because I'm sitting on a lot of money. And will I even owe the credit cards? Because if the banks go out and the money collapses, how can I owe? There's the money, there's no value. So it's one of those two things. And that's what I'm waiting for. Harley Davidson's losing money. They're losing $2 million on the stupid electric motorcycles. Who the fuck wants an electric anything? And they're trying to sell electric motorcycles, and they're losing $2 million on it. So they got to let me go because they don't have any money. Because those are like, it's like other people's money. They need the other sections to pay for the stupid electric motorcycles that nobody wants, that they can't sell. So yeah, I mean, Harley's in trouble, but I thought they'd be like, yeah, but Harley people will buy the motorcycle no matter what because it's a status thing, like a Mercedes. Even if it's $100,000, I want to own a Mercedes, and that's what you thought was happening with Harley. That no matter what, they'll still buy it. But apparently, in this market, it's not working that way. Where these people are. They're probably not buying the Harley. There's a Harley dealership a mile up the road. I'm curious to go see and have a chat with them. They sent me the 2 boxes, but they're all taped up. So I've got to untape them. I got to put these screens in the rest of the shit. Did you, I got to check. Did you give me paper? And then is there, is there an address that I should send it back to? Where do I send it back to? Now, maybe it's on the receipt, uh, I think it's a UPS or FedEx that dropped it off. So now I got to see what address do I send it to? And this is what I'm dealing with, like idiots in HR there who send me 2 boxes. Do they have wrapping paper? I'm just going to put them in. And then what do I got to go to FedEx? And what's the ad? What am I, where am I sending them to? So I need to ask that question to these morons. Anyway, I call my recruiter who called, and I said I'd call him back doing the show. He called at 2, so let me try him. And otherwise, good luck on the football. The key is don't bet every game. Just because there's 3 games tonight, if you don't like them, don't bet them. Look at the whole schedule and go through and pick the top games, which is what I do. And you make them locks and you make them strong plays, and you say, well, I don't love it, but I like it. It's a good point spread, or they should go over. And that's really what you do. But just because there's game, and this is the whole point of these Friday games, is to get you to bet on them. They're not the best games to bet on, but they want more action. That's why there's this inline and money lines and how many yards will Joe Blow get. That's all about action. They know the more bets that they get, they're going to win 90% of them. So they want more action. So that's why you've got to ignore all that shit. It's like gold. You got to ignore all the other shit. Just buy your gold and your silver. Good luck. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, I'll be fine. I'm just, as soon as gold goes up, or I'll get another job. I'm not concerned. I just got this job, so I'm not really worried. And my recruiter feels bad, so he's trying to find jobs for me too. So let me call my recruiter back, and we'll go from there. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Good luck. I'll be on 10 o'clock because there's noon games tomorrow morning, and then 11 o'clock Sunday for the one. I know you've got most of the games that I went through. We'll just look at line changes or new injuries that come up, and off we go. I'll look for Alligator or Egon, anything new, but I haven't seen them in a while. And that's about it. I don't know if they're banning Alligator or who knows with YouTube, but I haven't seen them. So anyway, you're welcome, Bobby Bo. Go get the Chinese. I mean, you can get beef there. You can get there's beef they have shrimp. You can get those. They're probably not fried. There's ribs they have, although they're not like barbecue ribs. I'd just go get barbecue ribs. If you really want Chinese, then maybe get the beef, or there's chicken chow mein, which is not breaded. So maybe try those. It's good. Anyway, go enjoy. Tomorrow, General Chow. All right, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Good luck, everybody who's betting. All right, take care.